Behold, the world's smartest man, so masculine and proud, the epitome of genius, amazingly endowed. A one-man wrestling renaissance. Just let your heart rejoice and bathe in all the luxury of my poetic voice. The best of my competitors are so inferior. I far outthink their greatest thoughts with my posterior. And when the bell has sounded on my stunning victory, I'll view that messy spot where my opponent used to be. The aristocratic pleasure of inflicting so much pain gives rise to so much passion, it is bordered on insane. Although my verse may seem perverse to every foe and fan, I'm still the genius Lanny Poffo, the world's smartest man.
All right, and welcome to episode 13, season 2 of the Jumping the Rail podcast. This is Mark Redmond, and right now I'm joined by my buddy Minderz from the 0-1 Shootout. Minderz, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mark. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Our tag team partner Gary Vestelio will hopefully be joining us shortly. He is dealing with some computer issues at the moment. I have no idea what that's like. It's
Technical
I never have.
difficulties, no idea.
Yeah. So you saw when we kicked off, we had to throw in a little bit of the genius at the start. We lost Lanny Poffo last week at a pretty young age. I think he was 68, which is crazy, and
Yeah.
a very healthy guy. So I don't know if they've even announced cause of death yet, Minderz. But
I haven't seen anything. I've been trying to keep up on top of it because really, after Jim Duggan posted it on his Twitter, that was about all you could really find about it. So.
Yeah, and even the news sources were running with the story, but using Hacksaw as their source. So I was trying to, before I ever put anything on like our pages, I wanted to make sure it was confirmed, and sadly it was. Of course, Lanny is part of wrestling royalty. It's like Cody's music says, wrestling has more than one royal family, and the Poffos are one of them.
Yes, they are.
Of course, his brother's the Macho Man Randy Savage. Of course, everybody knows that. But then his dad Angelo was a legend, not only in the Midwest but all over the place. But he was introduced being from Downers Grove, Illinois, which I always thought was cool. But I think we first really learned about Lanny when he was down in the Memphis area in ICW. And I know that's where, like, my brother is the biggest Lanny Poffo fan there is, and that's where he first saw him, because he saw him before I did. He's a couple years older than me. So he would watch, like, when Lanny and Randy were down there and feuding with, like, Ron Garvin, and Lanny was wearing the suit of armor in his promos. So I went back and watched that stuff later on. But I started watching Lanny, of course, WWF, on all the syndicated shows and Stardust Main Event and all that.
It's funny now to go back and actually listen to his promos and how young I was when I started listening to him, and I never understood him. And now when I go back and I'm like, oh, it's brilliant.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
My brother John, he's not a big collector of wrestling memorabilia, and I tried to get him to send me what he has, but number one, it's worth like $300 on eBay right now, so he didn't want to send it home with my mom when she was down. So like I understood. So I'll just show a picture of what he has.
Oh,
This is a
nice.
book that came out in 1988, Wrestling with Rhyme by Lanny Poffo. It's a book of poems and illustrations about other WWF wrestlers, and it's
Oh,
magnificent.
I bet.
My plan, my plan was I wanted to have my brother call in and have him read a selection or two from the book, but he can't do it. He's got other stuff going on today. But I
He
wanted to
should have taken
just
a
take a few
picture of it,
minutes.
and we could have read it.
Yeah, there you go. He said he can't find the book. It's somewhere in his house, but it's
No.
I was like, you better get. I saw how much the thing is worth on eBay. You better get his button gear and
Find
find that
that,
thing.
please. Yeah, find that.
Yeah, before somebody just donates it to a book fair or a store or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Leaping Lanny just at the start of the show. Just I know I'm sorry we're not getting as introspective as we did with the Jay Briscoe episode, but I thought it was worth bringing up just because he was so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife. Is that an
Yep.
implied nude photo on the? Lanny never wore knee pads. That's something to. So he always looked like he was just wrestling in his underwear and like high socks. And when they were flesh toned, it was off-putting or
Really
like a
awkward.
beige lavender kind of. Yeah.
Come on, Dwayne.
Wayne, come on, man. You didn't know it's every other Tuesday.
It's
You have not
every
missed the
other
show.
Tuesday.
Killing me, Smalls.
Right? I figured he'd be the first
but
one ready to talk about this week, but
he usually is.
Yeah.
But that's all right though. So yeah, I want to take a few minutes to talk about Lanny at the start of the show. Rest in peace. He's the last Poffo standing. I think his obviously his dad and his brother passed. I think his mother's passed on too. So I know he's got a daughter and a grandchild like that survived him. So good thoughts to them. I also want to give a shout out. Good thoughts to one of our JTR Hall of Famers, Jerry the King Lawler. Apparently suffered a stroke last night in Florida, which is scary
That
business.
one floored me. Yeah, that one floored me this morning. I was upset about that.
Yeah, Narge messaged me this morning, and because he saw, and then I looked and I saw Ricky Morton had a tweet out there, very vague about Jerry. So we went and we're looking around, and then as details came in, he's in the hospital. So we don't know how severe it was or what his condition is, but good thoughts to the King. He's a tough old bastard. He
That's
died for
saying the
20
least.
minutes on TV. Yeah. So hopefully he kicks out of this one and he's all right. And Dwayne, I forgive you. You got other stuff going on these days in a good way. So if you're not keeping up, that's all right. Just hop in when you can, and not much has changed. Just less tequila, less swearing.
So
with
he
the old
thinks.
regime with Marco. Well, there's definitely less tequila.
Definitely less
right
tequila.
Now it's just Pepsi Zero sugar in a Danhausen mug for me. So
it's water tonight and my coffee.
I can't drink coffee. I probably should, just because it's probably better for you. But
I put way too much sugar in it.
Yeah. So Minderz, we got some exciting things on the horizon, not only for this show but also for the shootout and the whole JTR podcast network. We got another outlet for our merchandise, along with our friends at ProWrestlingTees.com. Last week we launched this BrainbusterTees.com. We got a store up there because, and I explained it on our Facebook page. On Pro Wrestling Tees, all we can do is T-shirts. We don't get the option to do. I know they have other stuff, but I just don't have the option to do that yet. So I wanted to get some other stuff out there, and we got some cool stuff. This is well, that's on Pro Wrestling Tees. That's not on Brainbuster.
Yeah, this one's on Pro Wrestling Tees, but
yeah, and they can't see the whole thing. What does it say, Minderz, on there? I listened to the 0-1 shootout, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. I love it. It's just good
I'm
stuff.
still gonna fix it. I'm still gonna fix it for personalization for me, but we'll see.
Right. Yeah, and that makes sense because you don't listen to the shoot. You co-host the shootout.
Well, I do, but I technically listen to it. But
well, yeah. But no, on Brainbuster Tees, we got a few options here, and this isn't everything that we have. This is just the meat and potatoes of it. You got a few T-shirts. mainly ones that I submitted to PWTs but didn't get accepted. Like they rejected for one reason or another. We got the new podcast
Okay.
network logo on here with the hoodie and the gray shirt and the Raglan shirt there. Then we got our 01 shootout stuff, and then we got a couple hoodies here. But then we also have a couple hats in there, a baseball cap and a stocking cap in there with the Jumping the Rail logo on it, and also some stickers with the podcast logo, the 01 logo, and this logo that's on the black hoodie down here in the corner. So check all that stuff out, and we'll have more stuff as we think of it. But yeah, so it's something, and then eventually I'm gonna find out a way we can do because we talked about doing like coffee mugs and travel mugs and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, because all I've got right now is my Danhausen. So
Yeah. Oh, my wife chimed in with her coffee thoughts,
yeah.
and she's not wrong. I think she's lowballing how many creamers she's got in her refrigerator. So. Does she ever get? I think she has Reese's peanut butter creamer in there too, but I don't.
Oh my.
None of it sounds like it. None of it sounds like it belongs in coffee. I'll just put it that way.
So then it's perfect. That's the way it works. If it doesn't sound like it belongs in
Right.
coffee, try it. It'll be great.
Yes. So moving on here. Oh,
Do we have our partner
Dwayne,
in crime?
Not yet, but we do have a question from Dwayne. What's the word on Randy Orton? Is he coming back? He's still out. He posted a picture this week where he looks like he's fucking jacked.
Yeah, he does.
In great shape, it looks like, but they haven't given a timeline of when he's going to be back, because I think it was it spinal fusion or neck surgery or back surgery? It was something. I forget what it was.
Something along those lines, and that's usually out for what, a year to 18 months?
A year or so.
Give it or take.
Yeah, it's but it's not something you want to rush. Which I understand.
No, not at all.
Life.
Yeah.
Yep,
I saw it.
Disgusting. But yeah, so hopefully he comes back soon, because, and this is something that we'll get into a little bit later on with our Rumble talk, but if Cody is the one to beat Roman, I want to see Cody and Randy in a feud. I think it just makes perfect sense. And I think I want to see Randy tie Cena.
I was trying to think, didn't they have some similar to that? This would have been during the span of years that I didn't watch WWE, when they had Legacy.
No, they had Legacy,
that was Ted.
Then they had
Ted
DiBiase,
Ted
Jr., Cody, and Randy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but then at WrestleMania.
Yeah, WrestleMania. Oh yeah, that'd definitely be a talking point if they had a feud. But yeah, WrestleMania 28, they had a three-way between Orton, DiBiase, and Cody, but they never had like a big stage main event.
Yeah.
Sorry about our rude neighbor laying on the horn. Honestly, I could hear it through the window. I don't think it picked up on headset, so I think we're good.
I haven't heard it, so.
Yeah, we have neighbors that have very poor etiquette with their vehicles out there in the parking lot. But that's the perils of running a podcast out of your house.
Yeah.
And still no word yet on Gary, but that's all right. It's so for those that don't know, I'm just get a cheap plug in. I got to be on the 11:30 podcast for a second time last week on Thursday, and that's up now on YouTube and in podcast. And it's basically me and Dre and Brian B, I believe is the name of the other guy that was on there talking about the Royal Rumble. So if you get a chance, check that out. And it looks like our buddy is here. Minderz, let me go ahead and bring in. Wait for him to look at the camera. There we go.
Yep, so, I'm here. It only took 45 minutes.
Say hello to the Italian stallion, Gary Vasilio. Gary, good to see you, buddy. You gotta love those computer updates at the worst possible times.
45 minutes of updates. Just, yep, good times.
Trust me, it happens. So you missed our. We had a little chat about Weeping Lanny at the top of the show, Gary. I don't know if you want to throw in any thoughts on him, your fandom, or his poems, or anything.
I don't. I mean, I liked him, but it wasn't. I don't know. He wasn't much. But he went everywhere.
No.
He went everywhere Mach went. So.
Well, you know, he was supposed to be Gorgeous George.
Oh, really?
He got a back contract from WCW and never worked a day in the company. I think just from Randy just getting him a job, but yeah, he was supposed to be Gorgeous George, I guess, before Mach brought his wife in. Then she got it.
Well, she was slightly more attractive than he was, so
maybe a little bit.
A little better arm candy.
Maybe a little bit. First time on watching ICW, Dwayne. Yeah, that's what I was thinking because yeah, that's what my brother said too. So I think that was his best work was in ICW in Tennessee, back when the Poffos were feuding with Jerry Lawler and all them. So if you haven't seen that, go to YouTube and check it out. I'll have to get you a suit of armor, Gary, like Lanny used to wear.
We ever get money, we'll just get the Ribera jackets, and it'll be. Have to call
that's happening
close enough
at some point. That's happening at some point because they are on eBay. It's a little spicy in the price range, but
yeah,
it's they're there.
You figure some of them indie guys would sell some of them for gear or something, but apparently not.
I think they would be considered like marks for themselves if they got a Ribera jacket they did not receive at the steakhouse in Japan.
Yeah.
But now me, I have no such compunctions, and I will get one off eBay and wear it proudly.
Yeah. There'll be like 5 people in the entire area that might know what you're why you're wearing it, but
I'll strut down Vermilion Street wearing that jacket, a pair of Zubaz with my fanny pack, and a pair of aviator sunglasses. And my wife will leave me.
If that's the tipping point, then she's much more patient.
Hey, she's put up with the Zubaz for 2 years, I think it is.
That sounds about right.
Rocking those, but I can't oversell how comfortable they are, though. That's if I could wear them every day, I would. But they frown on that at work. But I digress. We've Minderz, we've flown off the rails, and we're only 15 minutes or so into the show. We were doing so good talking about Lanny and the King and plugging our merchandise. There's Marge. Stacy doesn't understand style. Now she's much more stylish than I am, but she's not wrestling stylish like I am. It's
yeah, well, she won't leave you, Mark, so you're good there.
No, I got that going for me. But no, she doesn't know the cool factor of wearing a pair of Zubaz tucked into your combat boots with a fanny pack, and with the old bandana roo on top there. Which, for the record, I'm only doing this to keep because there's a huge glare on my bald head from my ring light if I don't have this on. So Gary knows.
So what's our next topic?
Perfect.
Gary's like, I didn't get in here to talk about all this bullshit.
To talk style.
Oh, Stacy, you are not wrong. She will witness it at the SCX. I'll be styling in Indianapolis in April. But there will be pictures. Gary, let's talk about the Royal Rumble, since that seems like it's the big thing going here. I'm going to assume nobody was surprised by the winners of either one of them. Cody and Rhea. I think that's who everybody picked.
Yeah.
Not saying that's who everybody wanted. Honestly, I was thinking it was going to be Sami Zayn before I knew he wasn't going to be in the Rumble. Because I didn't know he was just going to be seconding Roman, and that was it. But it's like I said, I tweeted this, and then when I was on the 11:30 last week, I said it. Cody might have won, but Gunther was the star of that match. He went an hour and 11 minutes, and he looked like he was barely winded. So
I'm guessing it'll be him and Lesnar maybe at Mania.
that's what I'm hearing.
Lesnar and Lashley will be at
That's the Chamber, yeah.
Chamber. You think they're going to go for another like title unification, or because I
hope not.
I hope not.
I really hope not. They've done such a good job of building up both of those titles on both shows that it would make no sense to put them together and blend them.
So what you're saying is they're gonna do it because it makes
now
absolutely no sense.
Now if Vince was still in charge, then yeah. But Triple H I think has a little more pull. I'm sure Vince has like a pinky in the tiller there, but I think he's letting Triple H still do the day-to-day decision making on the booking. So I think he'll keep it as normal as he can, as long as he can. But no, I think fingers crossed. If they're doing Brock and Gunther, I'm hoping that means they're taking the belt off of Gunther before then, because number one, I don't want it to be a non-title match, and number two, I don't want Brock to be the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah. Oh wait, Lashley's not the champ, right? It's Theory. Never mind.
Yeah, it's Theory. Yeah. So. Yeah. Theory's got the Chamber match.
Theory's I would say the whole Chamber match is over Theory's belt.
Yeah, and they're saying possibly him and Cena at Mania.
I could see that.
I'm hearing. It makes perfect sense to me.
Some of his Instagram posts, he had one up the other day that I saw that he's like just swinging a chair around the gym, saying like, I guess I can't see him. And I was like, oh dear Lord, are we really going to do all this?
Dwayne, I wondered how long it'd take you to put this out in the comments.
Yeah.
You're right. I am not a fan. Never have been a fan. I know Dwayne is a big fan. I hope you behaved yourself when she popped up in the Rumble and didn't make too much of a spectacle of yourself, Dwayne. But but now she went in there for very long. She got kind of
got the giant treatment.
Mobbed. She got the giant treatment. Got the what I thought was going to be the almost treatment, but he got taken out by one guy. But yeah, she hasn't signed a contract as far as I know. So I'm not sure if that was just a one-off or what. But I mean, I know.
Sorry,
Triple
I'm
H
terrible, but I've got my fingers crossed that she's not coming back.
I'm with you. But I know Triple H likes to bring back the released people, and it could happen. It could be Nia too, but you never know.
Yeah, I was listening to who was it? Joe was on. Was he on Renee's podcast? And he was talking about how. And he was talking about the first time he got released when Vince was there, and then Trips rehired him back for NXT, and he basically confirmed what I thought was happening. It was a big power struggle. They weren't happy with each other at the time, and instead of Vince being putting on his big boy pants and letting Triple H do his own thing, he just started taking everything away from him and taking his people, and so everybody in NXT paid for it. That's why all these people got released. Why you lost Tony Storm. It's why you lost all these other people. And so then, of course, Triple H fires everybody that Vince liked, and then hires everybody else he liked back. But I don't know. I mean,
except for Pritchard, he kept Pritchard around though.
Yeah, he's.
Of course he did.
I like Bruce.
I mean,
you could say I live here.
Nuclear war will kill everything but cockroaches and Bruce Pritchard. Like you can't get rid of him. He will. And he's been in every promotion.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Jerry's tried, and he's lived in down near Memphis his whole life. Doesn't look like he knows what a heart-friendly diet is, even though he's had a major coronary incident. And, I mean, he still works, and but it's just, I mean, strokes are strokes, man. Like, it doesn't really matter. A little bit of plaque and breaks loose, and I hope he's okay. But but
it still kills me that when he had his heart attack, there was no structural damage at all in his heart afterwards.
Yeah. He probably just got hit wrong.
Well, yeah,
But-
you took what, like 13 elbow drops from Dolfall in a row?
Well, yeah. And one of them, unlike anything JR's ever called to the heart, was actually to the heart.
Yeah.
So JR, that's the only reason that I never liked JR was because it was always right
Step
to the
lightly,
heart,
sir.
and
Tread
it would be
lightly.
on the right side of the chest. That is not the heart. It is the right side of the chest. Drove
Well,
me insane.
I'll give you the judo chops. That was I could understand the issue with that.
Right to the heart. If the heart was on the right side of the chest cavity.
Your Jim Ross impression is awful, sir. But
Yeah, well, yeah. I was
saying nobody tells a story like Jim Ross, though.
I just
No.
wanted to get a John Madden pen and start circling the screen and just X's and O's over vital organs.
Hey, Mark, did you
Well, at least you didn't.
see my friend Bari posted something that he saw about JR, or not JR, about the King?
Oh, was this down here? Let's see.
Yeah,
That's not good.
that's not good.
Hopefully it's that's a just
Yeah.
good thoughts out there for the King, you know. But
Yeah.
if yeah, I don't know how many of these tribute episodes we have in it, so hopefully the King kicks out at 2 and he's all right.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know too. Did you see Mark earlier where Bari said something about he thought that Brock and Bobby might actually will conclude at Mania?
I honestly I could see it happening. I hope it doesn't, just because
They'll have they'll have some sort of gimmick match at Mania. I don't know what it'll be, but
the only way this works for me is if they do it in the fight pit.
yeah.
If they do the
All
fight
right.
pit match at Mania with those two
Let's do
guys, it works.
Let's do it.
I am happy though that at least when Lesnar came out this time, he was not like his whole promo wasn't just him acting like Bobby Lashley isn't a threat. So it was finally at least I can't think of anything else but Lashley, and it works so
Bobby
much better because Bobby Lashley is just a big yoked dude, like with legit fight experience, legit wrestler, probably close to as good as Lesnar is. Dude is strong as an ox. And then there's like, oh, well, he's in there with Lesnar. He's going to get thrown around. It's the dumbest thing. He's just as fast. He's just as strong. And there's no reason those, like Big E would say, that should be two manly men slapping meat. Just get in there and house fight. That's what it should be. It shouldn't be just Lesnar like throwing him around. And if he does German him, but Lashley should just get up, give him a German, and then they should just trade blows. I don't think it should be like a 30-minute Broadway.
No,
it should be like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
It should just be them hitting each other real hard.
It's got to be under 10 or Brock will never make it.
Yeah.
Right.
Brock will just be like, is it time for the F5 yet? No, Brock, it's not time for the F5 yet. No.
Well, to be fair, Brock does about 16 F5s every match. So
yeah. All I have is
16
moves.
F5s, 5 Germans.
Yes, for the internet wrestling community for the internet wrestling community to still love Lesnar is just spitting in the face of all the same people. These are the same guys who are like, oh, Cena's only got like 5 moves of doom. Lesnar has maybe 2.
2.
He has a
3.
German,
I'll give him 3.
A clothesline.
F5. I say the Kimura lock, that double wrist block that he does.
I guess it's so dumb.
I miss when he would do belly to belly suplexes. So
do something. Like
I like Brock better now than I did even a year or 2 years ago.
I like his personality.
He dresses
better.
like me.
Yeah. I like the way he's cutting promos. I like his personality better. He's still awful in the ring. It's just I know. But
Well,
yeah,
see,
Is it?
I'm sure those two will be at Mania.
Oh, yeah.
You'll have. I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm thinking at this point somehow Owens and Zayn take the titles off of the Usos at this
That's
next pay-per-view.
that's my guess. No, the next pay-per-view is Sami and Roman for the title
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
because
You
it's in,
think it'll
it's in
be,
Montreal. So I think
but
it'll be a
man,
Mania.
I would still you know what? Like I would do a swerve, like almost like a Daniel Bryan like swerve. First night, I would have Cody versus Reigns. I
Don't
would
say
have
it.
Cody take one title.
No.
And then the next night, he
No.
tells Sammy if they can win the tag titles, then he'll give him a shot at the title. And then him and Owens win the tag belts, and then he goes takes the other title with an assist from The Rock.
My neck is going to hurt if I shake it any harder at you, sir. Where do I start telling you how wrong you are, my friend? I'll start with splitting the belts up. I can't get behind them splitting up the titles. I think number one, there needs to be one belt. I think they need to just consolidate it, bring back. Cody tweeted out the Winged Eagle belt not too long ago. I wouldn't be mad if they brought that back and made that the world title.
I don't. It doesn't matter that much. I guess it gives somebody something to do though. Like when you have one champion bouncing between shows, you have all these top level guys now that have nothing to do, and because
Not true.
wrestling has, but there's no storylines that don't revolve around belts anymore. Every once in a while, you have somebody mad at somebody else, but how long do those actually last? You got like Bray and what's his nuts?
LA Knight.
LA Knight.
Eli
and and that you saw
Eli.
how well that worked. They don't know how to book without a belt. And if you don't have two heavyweight titles, you have Rollins, you have Lesnar, you have all these guys just basically trying to orbit around it. And I like two belts, but I like them actually being defended. With the whole Reigns thing, he's on TV like even more sparingly than I thought he would be. And good for him, because that's how you work a contract.
Yeah, right.
If that's how he got his contract,
Hogan was never on TV.
Yeah, but I think now it used to be if you weren't on TV, it was fine. It built suspense, it built intrigue that when is he going to come back? But I think now fans at least need to see you on the show. And Reigns isn't even there. Like he doesn't he's not sending in a promo from home. You don't hear him talking over the phone. At least you could put him on speakerphone, but they're not doing that, and it's just boring. And Roman Reigns is boring when he's not like on TV. And when he's in a match, those matches also boring. Like his character though is exciting. Like the way he cuts a promo, the facial expressions he uses, his posture, it's all like he is doing like top tier work that way. But like you got to have him on TV to do that. And it's fine. I don't care if he only works 2 nights a week. Make him be there 2 nights a week. If I were Fox or USA, I would be upset.
Well, isn't that part of the reason? Wasn't that part of the reason they were complaining? That USA was complaining because Roman was on SmackDown and USA said no, we want the belt on our channel too. And
yeah, well, that's why they split the belts because they wanted. That's the other thing. I don't see how USA stands there and just says, "Oh yeah, one title, that's fine." If I were them, I would say, "You're on the network. We have a little bit of sway here. We need a belt back, defended and shown every week. You don't have to defend it every week, but you need to at least show it off."
Well, that's where if you have, say, Cody takes the belt at Mania, I think Cody's the kind of guy that would go. He'd put in the work. He'd go to both shows with it, and he would probably like what they're doing with Roman right now. They basically got him running 2 storylines at once with Sammy on SmackDown, Cody on Raw, and
Well, it's Dreamer, Spicoli, and Raven.
He's right.
I love
Holy
your
cow, he's
obscure
right.
ECW references.
Oh, I love it.
It's just Dreamer, Spicoli, and Raven. Like, and well, Tommy was also running a program with, I think, Brian Lee at the same time. Probably.
Tommy was feuding with everybody.
But it
Cactus
was
Jack,
mostly
Bruce Brothers, Raven, Brian Lee,
Funker was at the end of that, but it was mostly like Spicoli and Raven.
Dudley's.
They were, and like, so it was that same feeling of like just one guy, like, but Roman is the heel, and I don't think it works as well. The way Cody cuts promos now, and the way just it's just. I think you have to do something with Sami though, because Sami Zayn's never going to be any hotter than he is now, and Cody is as hot as he's ever been and probably ever will. He might get hotter, but I don't think Sami Zayn's ever going to get hotter than he is right now. So if you don't strike now with him, but if you don't give Cody the title at Mania, I'm not sure what you do with him.
So here's what I think about that, because I agree with Sammy's red hot right now, but you could put the belt on Sammy if you want to, but I don't know that he is the long-term draw to hold that title. What I think
he wouldn't have
would
it.
happen.
He wouldn't have it forever. He would have it
No.
for a few months, but.
So here's what I'm thinking. So Sammy's got Roman in his hometown at the Chamber. If it was me booking, and like I said, I'm no booker, I would have Sammy lose by DQ. I just have him just go off on Roman, use a chair, just beat the shit out of him, beat up the rest of the bloodline, get Roman away from Sammy for Mania to do his program with Cody. Cody wins the belt from Roman. Now Roman can heat things up with Sammy. They don't need a title for that feud. That feud is epic enough without having a championship. So they can do, and what I was saying last week is, I mean, they'll do KO and Sammy against the Usos at Mania. It's pretty much, it's almost a lock at this point. And you can even put the belts on them. Then you can have Sammy have to go through the entire bloodline, have him have to wrestle Solo in a street fight at some point, and stretch it out until you get to SummerSlam. Then you get him with Roman in a big, like not to be a gimmick match, could be Falls Count Anywhere, street fight, something. But they can stretch this out without having the title.
I think what would be interesting is you take the angle with Jay, and you either have maybe not this pay-per-view, but at Mania, you have Jay turn on Jimmy and super kick him or something when they go for the one and done, and then at the next pay-per-view you have a 3-on-3 Owens, Zayn, Jay versus Jimmy, Solo, and Reigns in a street fight or something.
Then have Jay turn on Sammy and KO and go back with the bloodline.
No, just be done. I'm done with the bloodline.
I want him to do it in Horseman style, my friend.
I'm done with the bloodline. I'm done. That whole angle went so long that there's nothing else that can be done with it. They've held those titles. They've wrestled every match. The only way to freshen up the Usos is to make them singles for a while, and then make them be the singles wrestlers. So Solo will be fine on his own. Reigns needs to be gone for a while, or he needs to lose a few times before he should be back in the picture. It's just,
I'm not saying keep Reigns in the title picture for a while.
Yeah, I just think you could have a Jimmy and Jay feud where they actually feud. I mean, with the Briscoes, you saw how good that always is. Matt and Jeff, that was always good, 1 versus 1. It's brothers fighting. They're going to throw some potatoes. It's going to be fun for everybody.
As good as Jeff can bring you.
Yeah. Oh, sloppy Jeff.
Sloppy Jeff.
There's only so much. I just wonder how they're going to handle it with the fact that Sammy won the tag titles with Jay. Because remember on Raw 2 weeks ago, before Royal Rumble?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy got hurt.
He subbed in, yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that all plays out, too.
Well, you could always work it that he's got a piece of it or something somehow.
I don't know. I
But
think they'll keep that as just a one, no pun intended, one and done thing.
Well, and they won't all
Sammy
be.
doesn't have the right look.
Shush,
You don't want
Dwayne.
Yukon Cornelius to be the world champion, Dwayne? And I love Sami Zayn, but
speaking of the right,
fella?
no. Speaking of the right look, I don't care about anything at Mania as much as I care about Beth and Edge versus Rhea and Finn at Chamber.
Oh, Chamber?
Because
that's
going to be
like
Beth's just jacked out of her mind right now.
Oh yeah,
Edge is looking great. But it's still weird to me that you have that angle that sat there that long, and Beth versus Rhea 1-on-1. That to me, now it's just to me maybe, but that's a draw to me. Like that draws money because
it's not just you, Gary.
You got a Hall of Famer that everybody on the internet, every wrestling fan wants to see actually go to war one more time at least. And you got Rhea Ripley, the hottest woman wrestler on the planet. They both wrestled men in their time. They both were like the strongest women of their times. But I would rather see Rhea wrestle Beth. And even if she beats Beth, it doesn't really matter. That still, I think, makes her more than winning a title. I think she is a made man, if you will. Made woman if she beats Beth.
Made mommy.
Yeah.
Well, I think looking at that, I guess the way I kind of see that is if she did beat Beth, that it's kind of like the Glamazon passing the torch on to the next female badass, quote unquote. So
I don't think Beth would have any issue putting Rhea over.
Not at all.
Well, because Beth's a professional. She knows what
Dwayne?
She knows.
Okay, I don't think they ever announced a Finn Edge match in a Hell in a Cell at the Royal Rumble, unless I'm missing something. I think that was just a rumor, Dwayne. Yeah, that was just a rumor, buddy.
The tag match will be fine, but I still
yeah.
And after the tag match, you could have got another match like Finn and Edge at Mania, and then Beth and Rhea at Mania. I mean, but now you have, unless you somehow put Beth Phoenix in the title picture, but that's still going to be a three-way dance.
I was going to say. Well, here's what I think. So
if you want to give Beth one more title run, I'm all for it because she deserves that too. Because good Lord, she was the only like her and Trish and Mickey were the only people that could work.
Yeah.
And she just worked. She was so good and got nothing for it. Like,
I think like I said, the tag match I agree with for the Chamber. What I would do is I would have Rhea win the title from. Well, actually, honestly, I would have had Rhea beat Bianca, not Charlotte. But you know, it is what it is. So
I
don't know. Maybe have.
I think Charlotte and Rhea is going to be your draw with that.
Well, no, that's here's the. I made a point when I was on the 11:30 because this came up, and I said, I wonder if they don't feel that Bianca and Rhea would be a main event caliber like draw, so they think Charlotte is the draw there, so she would be the main event.
I'd like to see them headline night one of WrestleMania, but
I think they're gonna. I think it's gonna be Charlotte and Rhea night one, then Cody and Roman night two. But yeah, so you can have Rhea win the belt from Charlotte. Charlotte doesn't need a belt; she's over like crazy anyway. So have Rhea win at Mania, then say Backlash or Extreme Rules, whatever that next pay-per-view is. Then have Rhea defend against Beth, because Beth didn't retire because she had to; she chose to. To paraphrase Mark Briscoe last week, didn't have to kick him in the balls; he chose to. The feud is building. I think the feud has been building. It's you don't take a concerto and then just do a tag match and be done with it. There's got to be something else in there.
Yeah.
So
although I was surprised that Edge it was Finn and Rhea. If it was me, I think I would have put Priest in there instead of Finn.
And then Finn and
Priest is in the Chamber. but
Oh,
I
that's
thought
right.
That's right.
I thought it could
Or
have been
Dom.
Rhea and Dom.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
but
yeah, Rhea and Dom might have been more fun because then like
then you get Ray coming out and interfering, or
yeah,
which they still could, because I imagine Dom will be in their corner, so maybe
Yeah.
Ray will pop up.
and
Dwayne,
Booyaka
you see
Booyaka.
Cody going over at WrestleMania.
Cody's winning at
Dwayne, there's a-
WrestleMania, Dwayne.
Dwayne, there is a second E in WrestleMania, my friend. But I'm not going to pick on you. But yeah, Cody. I think Cody's going over. I think he has to.
Cody's going over
Now,
at WrestleMania.
Yeah. So our
I've
Royal
seen-
Rumble discussion kind of took a turn, but that's all right. I think we
It
covered
always
all
does.
we really need to.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rumble matches were fun. Not a whole lot to write home about, as outside of like Gunther and Cody on the men's side. I thought Dom.
I was surprised
great
to
in the
see
Rumble.
Logan.
Well,
I was
I
surprised to see
figured he
Logan
might
Paul.
be there. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Looks
thought
like
he was still
out of
hurt.
that,
But
what?
I thought he was still hurt. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I did too.
I wasn't
it
sure how
must
long
have
he'd be out
must
for.
not been as bad as they thought it was, or well, he's only
Yeah.
20 something, so
Yeah, right. He's young. He's got.
they heal.
And
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting Booker T either.
That was a nice surprise. He was only in there
That was-
for, and actually, I've got the time on my phone.
He was under a
in
minute and a
there-
half.
He was in it for 41 seconds.
41
He-
seconds.
He said
41
that
seconds.
he said that's his swan song. He's finally done. And,
Yeah.
I mean,
Men's match longest was Gunther, 71 minutes, 40 seconds. Not counting Rey Mysterio, who didn't actually get into the match. The shortest time was Baron Corbin at 7 seconds.
has anybody legitimately timed the women's rumble? Because like Mark messaged me during it, it was on Titan time.
Yeah.
Like that was definitely not like actual minutes or seconds. Like it
I'm-
just seemed like it was like, hey, that was 2 minutes, right? Sure. Like,
Oh, I thought they went. I thought they went a minute and a half now.
oh, do they?
I think it's
They
still.
cut it
I think
down?
it's still 2 minutes. Finger quotes.
Yeah, it's a minute and a
But-
half.
One of
Yeah.
these days, I want to go back and watch again with a stopwatch and actually time how long between entries, just to see how close they are to actually being on time.
And it, with the women, like it was, in the back, they're like, run, 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 run. Like get down
All
there.
of them ran except for Nia. All
Yeah.
of them ran except
All-
for
Right.
Nia.
All the
Well,
men were
Nia's not
taking,
much of a runner.
No.
all the men were taking their sweet time. All the women were just
Right.
Nikki and it
Looking at-
down there.
Although I
So,
will
along with-
say they used Brock the best way they possibly could, though. I thought the
Yeah.
way they put him in there was great. Although I was wrong because we started taking bets on when Brock was going to come, which number Brock was coming out at, and I said 15, so I was off by 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
But-
mean, that makes up for a few years ago when he somehow won the Rumble without ever entering the Rumble. Like he just beat up somebody and took their spot. It's like it's not how that works.
Well,
it's
that was Nia a couple of
That
years
was-
ago
yeah.
too, when she took out
That
our
was
truth.
that was Becky.
Yeah.
That was Becky. She
yeah,
No,
came out
Becky
when
was
Lana got hurt.
Lana.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Nia Jax.
That was the same
took-
deal though.
But at
Nia
least
Jax
she had
took
to
Nia
get
beat
him.
up Truth. Nia beat
Yeah.
up Truth and took a spot. Then yeah, Brock I think I don't know who he beat up, but he wound up getting number 30 last year and winning the whole thing.
after he'd already lost. I knew he was going to do it. But
Well,
it's
he
still
lost his
tough.
match. He lost the title,
Yeah.
and then he came and won the Rumble. So that's
Yep.
Vince 101.
You know who I missed?
gotta go over.
The people I kind of missed that I was surprised there wasn't any NXT guys.
Yeah, that kind
Yeah.
of bummed me out. I was hoping
That,
for that.
that
I thought
I was
Braun
hoping for
Breaker would be
Braun.
in there. At
Yeah.
least.
and
I thought Braun. I
where
thought
was
Carmelo would
Ziggler?
be in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no-
Ziggler was missing. I was surprised he wasn't in there.
So
I don't
That
know
was a
who you
couple.
would take. There were actually I can say there were too many tag teams in the Rumble. Street
Yeah.
Profits, Alpha Academy, they were just and more that I can't think off the top of my head. But
Sheamus
yeah,
and
two-
McIntyre.
well, they're not really a tag team. They're two singles guys teaming up.
Okay.
Oh, well,
But
don't get Mark started on his
New Day.
New
tag
Day was in there,
teams.
yeah.
His tag teams that aren't tag teams. I'm almost in the same boat.
There's a difference between thrown together tag teams and tag teams.
Okay, so what
But-
did Kofi mess up that was supposed to happen for
I think it
his
was-
for his
He was
I think
spot?
supposed to
land in
supposed
the
to land on the
chair.
chair,
I think
but the chair tipped
Xavier was
over.
supposed to hold it,
right?
but
somebody
Kofi
missed
basically
something.
jumped right at Woods, and Woods tried to move the chair,
Right,
and it just
Because they
But, you know,
brought
you
it up,
take-
they're like, only one foot touched the floor, and it was like,
right,
and then you never
like,
heard
yeah.
any more about it. It was
No,
like,
then
okay.
they just yeah, right, yeah.
it was like last year. Like, well, if you're gonna do angles like that, you want to film it, but
Yeah.
but don't put it on screen until you know it worked. Because
Right.
only the people watching and only ones really close are going to actually see it. And so then you just creatively cut. Because last year when he jumped to the guardrail, if you wouldn't have had a camera right on his feet and like
wouldn't know.
immediately cut to it, you would have never known his foot touch.
Yeah.
But instead, you have one slight little slip, and then
Kevin Dunn.
so dumb.
Where's Keith Mitchell when you need him? That's what made me really nervous about the end of the women's match when Rhea did that spot where she was holding on to the top rope but her feet slipped.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she could have easily touched both feet, but she only touched one.
Well, yeah, she's real tall. So.
Somebody was just trying to call, oh, she touched both feet, and they showed a picture. You could see it was a shadow.
Yeah.
On the ground. So it's like, come on, pal.
Okay.
But yeah, she was very crafty, and she did that finish was the best part of that ladies' rumble with all three of them on the apron like that.
Well,
Mhm.
I'm hoping that Asuka actually has something to do at Mania because Mark and I are marking out just because Kana's back.
Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Oh, you weren't the only one.
I'd like her to be the one to win the chamber match and go on with Bianca.
And then beat Bianca. Good. I want Bianca Belair around. Yeah. I just don't want her as a face.
No, she's.
I want her as the heel she was in NXT. She was a great heel in NXT.
Fantastic.
Because she was cocky and confident, as she should be, because she is just a physical specimen who keeps getting better and better. But man, she's just not that white bread baby face that they're wanting her to be. And Asuka is like, right now, she's super hot because wrestling fans do know that gimmick. And she can be that weird face, that can take the title and run with it. Literally right now. Yeah. but then that can turn Bianca, make her a heel. And she can get the belt back from her at some point. You can have them traded a few times. It doesn't matter, but she's just she's not cut out for the kind of face.
The baby face is getting old with Bianca.
Yeah.
What I want to see her and the Profits go heel. All three of them.
Yeah.
The Street Profits are due for a heel turn.
Might as well start a faction. Everybody's starting a faction today, Mark. We might as Mindy, you want to start a faction?
Sure. Doesn't everybody start a faction now?
Well, if we're going to start a faction, we should probably go to AEW.
Wrong show, buddy.
Wrong show, Dwayne.
Join us tomorrow, Dwayne, on the for the 0-1 shootout, and we'll talk about this more if you want.
Well, if we start a faction in WWE, it'll be 3 people. If we start one in AEW, we'll need 7 more people.
I was going to say we're going to need more people.
We'll get Dallas Preacher. We'll get you Carrot. Minderz.
Well, okay.
He's kind of a loner. Hangs out in the woods a lot.
Well, but here's the thing, though. I used to armchair book for a lot of the indie shows.
Oh,
yeah.
Do that?
Yeah, heck yeah. So we used to book, and I had a faction. My faction was called Any Means Necessary. So I think at one point I had 7 people in it. But there was a reason I had 7 people in it, and that was because I needed somebody to hold each of the titles. So, good reason. And I was the manager.
When you're the booker and you're a member of a faction, that's risky.
It was a good time, though.
Unless you're Dusty Rhodes.
Hey, speaking of Dusty Rhodes, I can't say it without a list. Minderz didn't get to see the exchange last night between Cody and Paul Heyman. I thought it was freaking magnificent.
It was real good.
It was so good.
All right.
It
I'll
looked
make sure
like
to
Cody.
Watch it when we get done.
It looked like Cody legitimately took Paul by surprise.
Yeah, probably did.
Which you never surprise Paul.
Yeah.
You definitely never get emotion out of Paul.
Yeah.
And he was blubbering like as Jerry Lawler would call him, a Paulrus. I wish I could have taken credit for that when I told Stacy that last night, but I had to give Jerry his credit on that one.
Okay, so since we talked about the Rumble matches, are we going to talk about the slump that was in between the 2 Rumble matches?
Oh, that's the Rumble. To me, that's the Rumble slump. To me,
it was terrible.
I love the Royal Rumble matches, and I'm glad there's 2 of them now because for some reason I've always it's been probably my favorite pay-per-view because you always get those weird pairings, and every once in a while you'll get a surprise comeback. But like the matches at the Royal Rumble are always like super short or awful. And it's because
Awful.
everybody's paid so much attention now, especially you have one at the beginning and one at the end. You have
Yeah.
so much energy expended watching that first match, watching to see who's flying over the ropes, watching to see who's coming in, popping for this,
Watching
popping
who
for
messes up.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
those next matches, I mean, it could be like, Frank or Carl Gotch come back from the Great Beyond versus Jerry Briscoe.
Simon Gotch.
And it's not going to matter. It could be Bruiser,
Gene LaBelle and Billy Robinson.
It could be Bruiser Brody versus the promoter that stabbed him in the shower, and you're not going to get much of you're not going to get much out of that. But those matches though were just like the lights out match.
I couldn't get into it.
I have respect for the attempt. It was at least it was different. Bray looked pretty cool. LA Knight went out of his way to be like a glow stick. And
highlighter.
But like everything took it was either way too quick or it was just took way too long. Like Uncle Howdy doing the elbow. Everything Uncle Howdy does takes just a little too long. Like all of his when he shows up, he laughs a little too long. Like I don't know if it's the singer in me that if in a song, if there's too many repetitions of a verse, just to my ear, it bugs me. So in wrestling, especially if you're out there just a little too long or you show up a little too quick, to me that's a big thing. And the whole Uncle Howdy thing has just been been stretched too long. It's just it should have been off the line by now, and it just hasn't seemed to, because you haven't explained
what to do with it.
You don't explain anything about it, which, hey, I know there's a mystery, but why is he there? What is he? Who is he? What's he doing? What is he to Bray? Is Bray listening to him? Is he just another one of Bray's buddies? Bray's not doing... brother? Yeah, is it a Rotunda? Is it Vincent? I don't... I need to know something.
That would be horrible if it came back and it was Vince.
Vincent. Oh, Vincent from ROH.
No,
Vincent. I thought I don't know why I thought you said Vincent like Virgil.
No, because I haven't seen Vincent on TNA lately. So there are people thinking it might be him.
I think they said he was in attendance at NXT, in the crowd.
Oh, well, maybe.
This is a great analogy. It's like those Family Guy bits that go on too long.
It's like the knee. That's like Peter and his knee.
Or the chicken fight.
Yeah, the chicken fight.
Yes, Dwayne, ain't no sunshine, yeah, that's one of those songs where I'm like, eh.
I guess I won't tell you what song we're learning next.
I know. I know.
Why did we have a concert in the middle of the Royal Rumble?
In the middle. It was right before the main event.
Mark, now Mark, you went back and watched that, right?
Yeah.
So because you had taken a break and you missed it originally.
I was in the other room originally. I went back and I watched it again.
And I'm just all capsing Mark in the chat. This is the worst thing I have ever heard.
It was Roseanne National Anthem bad.
It was bad. And you took up
awful.
You didn't put that on the pre-show where you could have bumped something or made it special time. No, that was 15. That was a match.
It was.
That was something you could have put on the end of Bianca's match. You could have gave that to the Fiend. You could have had anything else.
Because then the Rumble could at least get the crowd back after that abomination. Yeah. I would rather hear Jeff Hardy sing than that again.
He's actually not bad. Jeff Hardy, that is. Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, I'm not a Jeff Hardy fan or off stage.
Yeah, that was
awful. He just thought the concert sucked. I agree.
Yeah, it was just awful.
Next year, they need to get Aha in there for Dwayne.
Just take on me and repeat.
I'm sure they open and close all their concerts with "Take on Me."
Probably.
And then have they have a montage in the middle of it.
Yeah. They do it
But
in
yeah,
Spanish.
that was terrible.
Worst part of the show, and that includes the it was one song, but it was
It was awful. Well, I mean,
one song too many.
see,
Well,
that's the thing. Like when you talk about bands now, like they're like, oh, well, that guy's in the studio, but it is hard enough to play live if you have good sound. Like Mark and I play in bars, and man, it is. If we have to turn the speakers towards us
Yeah.
so we can hear because it gets loud. I can't
It
imagine
does.
what it's like to play in the middle of a stadium with people screaming. But if you're already awful and then you're playing like that, it's going to sound even worse. And worse than awful is apparently Hardy.
Yeah.
Well, and
I
then
hope
you
your
have to take
wife
the
sees
time
me.
to put all the ropes back on the ring because you took them all down for his
Yeah.
stupid performance.
Yeah. So not
Go
not
go go Goa. Go go Goa. Is that another one of the bloodline? Dwayne?
No.
I don't know what's
I believe
going
you said about the Go-Go's. I don't know which one. I don't think the wife sees me right now.
on. Vacation.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be subtle, but
There's no subtlety.
no.
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Oh, and this may not be popular opinion, and I hate to go back to it, but Logan Paul has officially taken over the buckshot lariat. I'm just saying. He does it so much better than Hangman does.
Yes.
Hey,
There's a lot of things
Sorry.
that people do better than I love Hangman. But there's so much about Hangman that needs tweaking.
changed.
Number one, no more butterfly glittery jeans on
Please?
his promos.
And if you're gonna do the what is it, the dead eye, don't drop
Yeah.
people on their head.
Yeah, that would be nice.
There's a thought.
Or do it knees first through a table. That I know you're young.
He did that to
But-
Briscoe in that match. It took a big chunk out of his knee because
Well,
his knee
that-
pad just slipped down.
What do you know? Like you got a 230-pound guy on a 230-pound guy, knees first through a wooden table. How would anything dumb ever happen with that, Mark? Mindy? Can you tell me how dumb would happen with that?
Everything dumb.
The only person that can make it dumber would be Darby Allin, and he could find
Possibly.
a way to make that dumber.
Yeah.
The stupid factor would just increase exponentially. It's just
Hey, Gary. Speaking of doing dumb things in the ring, I don't know if you saw this or not. Kota
Oh,
Ibushi
geez.
has revealed he will be opening a school. 800,000 yen for 6 months, including room, meals, and tuition. And then
is that
he's
like
gonna be
eight?
going back.
It's like $8,000.
800,000 is like 80,000
Wow.
or 8,000. I hope it's not 80,000.
I think it's more like $8,000.
I'm looking it up right now.
All I know is 999 yen is $9.99 because that's the New Japan World exchange rate.
No.
But yeah, if I can think of about 1 million people I'd rather have teaching me how to wrestle than Kota Ibushi.
He is spectacular, but also spectacularly stupid. He just does so many dumb things.
Yeah.
He just.
All right. Hate to cut in.
Uh-huh.
I've got $6,000.
Oh.
Ooh.
$6,000. But that's room and board too.
Yeah, it's room, board, and food.
You know,
Because it was 800,000, right?
Yeah.
800. Yeah.
800,000 yen.
800K. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
800,000 yen to USD is $6,114.38.
So to live in, I'm assuming his house for 6 months, and tuition for his school, that's $6,000.
Well, I mean, Undertaker got to train in some dude's front yard.
That's Buzz Sawyer.
Like, yeah. He
And then
didn't even
Buzz
get the
split
house.
down.
Well, if you trained with Moolah back in the day, you got to stay in all kinds of people's houses.
Oh, Gary. Come on.
I caught it. I was just going to keep my mouth shut. I knew what he was saying.
Oh.
Stacy has my back.
I kid. Not really, because that actually happened.
I say that's the truth.
That's the truth. Oh, professional wrestling.
You gotta love it.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean Kota Ibushi, like, dude is incredible. Like, he could be the best wrestler in the world, but he just takes unnecessary risks. Like, he's got the look, he's got the physique. I don't know what his promos are like. It doesn't really matter in Japan.
Hard to
But it's,
decipher.
but it's the same. It's the same thing I feel, and it's not just because I'm a less is more guy, and I'm not that old to not because I watched Ray in Mexico when he was young, and
Ray,
it's like
a lot of
be
Rays.
serious.
Okay.
Ray and Psychosis, and those
Conan.
crazy 6-mans they did,
Hoovy.
and I love Lucha. I love the Super Juniors in Japan. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time is Ultimo Dragon.
Yes.
Like, he's in my top 5. He is just amazing. But when you watched him in those tournaments, he would do something super crazy like a double moonsault.
Mm-hmm.
But like, everything he did had purpose. He wasn't dropping himself on his head.
Mm-hmm. He
was technically right on everything. And you should be able to do that because you have to have longevity. Like, I can't see how guys like Omega and Ospreay, like, they're not even like Omega's in his 30s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, Ospreay's just heading there. Ibushi's heading
if he's
there.
30, he's early 30s. Yeah.
And they've already had fairly major injuries.
Right.
And they just keep doing, like, you can do strong style without killing yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ospreay's smartened up a little bit though. His style's changed since he's been back.
But when you have the look that Ibushi's got, and you have like the star power that he's capable of, just, man, somebody get him by the collar and just say, you got to slow down. Like, even Daniel Bryan finally at like age 40 something has realized that he can't keep doing stupid stuff.
No.
Like, when he came back before, he thought, oh, I can do all this dumb stuff. But no, it didn't work out well for him because he had to, he was still getting hurt. You got to just take a step back.
Yeah.
And Brian's amazing right now. Like,
yes,
he's
doing
probably
the best work of his career.
Yeah, doing the best work of his career, and is basically mat based. Every once in a while, he throws a German or something.
No more headbutts.
No more headbutts. And if you're going to throw one every once in a while, make it count for something. Right. I mean, you used to watch pay-per-view. I used to watch pay-per-views just so I could see the 3 moves that nobody ever got to do. Like, each guy would have like 3 moves that they never did unless it was a pay-per-view. And so you would see like you would see their like super, move in the middle of the match because they never got to do it on Raw. They never got to do it on Nitro, Jericho was throwing in.
Claudio did the UFO at Mania a couple years ago.
Yeah. But now pay-per-views aren't as special because you got guys throwing everything all the time. Yeah. And then it's like, well, what are we going to do to one-up that? Slow down. And you don't have to one-up yourself. You don't have to say, although the Ricochet, Logan Paul, like, meeting in the middle was spectacular because that's a 10-foot ring. That's a long way. Or is that 20 foot?
It's 20-foot ring.
It's a 20-foot ring.
Definitely
so, yeah, that's
definitely not 10 feet.
That's 10 feet. That's 10 feet to the middle.
Right.
That's a long way.
That's a long way to go.
Spectacular. Yeah. But now everybody on the indies is going to be doing that in like a 16-foot ring.
Uh-huh.
Or like
it's colliding at full speed.
And then that's just going to be a spot.
Yeah. Like a Canadian Destroyer.
Canadian Destroyer, P.D. Williams, get hit with the Canadian Destroyer, looked awesome, you were out. Mm-hmm. You got hit by a diamond cutter, you were out. You got hit by like Hayabusa's dragon suplex back in the day. Uh-huh. He would pin you with that. It's a dragon suplex.
Same with Benoit too. That was his finish, was a dragon suplex for a long time.
But now Kenny Omega is throwing 14 Snapdragon suplexes a match.
Yeah.
And I'm not over exaggerating that number because
you're not.
You're not.
Or like the V-trigger knee. That
should be a finish.
As much as I like to rag on Omega, that is a beautiful move.
Yes.
And he always executes it great. I would rather see that as a finish than the one wing angel.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's just
much setup.
That's just a Michinoku driver. To me,
It's like I like the Rubik's Cube better, Danny Daniels.
But I would rather see the V-trigger knee as his finish. It's a big move.
It's a
But he
KO
does
shot.
it like 8 times a match. And so what are you going to do? Just throw it 16 times a match? You have to, I'm going to have this happen and this happen with the chair. Why?
Yeah.
Just don't do as much every time you wrestle. And then people will forget. And then they'll be like, oh, yeah, he does the V-trigger knee. Well, it's because you can't show it all the time. And Ibushi I'm hoping he learns that because, man, he's got a big future. It's just can't kill yourself.
What I would like to see, I want to see Ibushi and Omega team up again, because I'm not a big fan of either one of them as singles, but I love the tag team, the Golden Lovers. And I could see that happening in AEW at some point. Bring back the Golden Elite, is what they were in New Japan when Omega was the champ there. It was him, Omega, or him, Ibushi, and the Bucks. It was like a 4-man team. They could do that in AEW, because Tony loves his factions.
Dwayne AJ broke his ankle.
Yeah, he's got a broken ankle. He's out for a while, Dwayne. I was trying to find an opening to answer your question. Sorry about that. So he's going to be out for a while.
There it is. Broken ankle.
Yep. Thank you, Gary. You're an asset as always.
What do we have left there, Marcus?
It's like, let's get on with this.
Well, I don't know where we're even at. I don't have the notes, so.
Oh, we really have no notes. We're just going with it.
We're flying on the seat of our pants here, Gary. Let's talk about Vengeance Day this past weekend. I know Minderz has opinions.
I do. I have quite a few opinions on this, actually.
Gary, did you see the show?
No, I haven't even seen I forgot to get the results. I was going to watch it on Peacock, then I realized it wouldn't matter. It would just load the entire time. So
Right. We've had issues with that lately.
Yeah.
Overall, good show. I thought best match of the night was the first match, Dijak and Wesley.
We're gonna fight.
I love Dijak. He's my guy.
I love Dijak. I have no problems with Dijak.
I didn't like the spot at the end with the chair and the broom and the Italians. Which, out of context, Gary,
Gary's like, what in the world am
I'm
I
like,
getting myself into?
I was like, is this a scene from Casino? Like,
so let me paint a picture for you.
Is there a vice involved with
paint
this?
the picture.
I got you hitting a fucking vice. No, let me paint a picture for you. So,
is Wesley Irish?
Well, Wesley is an Irish name, I think. But no, so Dijak super kicks Wesley on the floor. Super kick, another one of those moves we were talking about.
Yeah, one of those that used to be a good finisher.
Right.
Yeah.
Sets him up in a chair, puts the broomstick across the arms of the chair to kind of like strap him in, right?
Yeah.
So, and Wesley, for some reason, doesn't just scoot back. I thought, why not just... But, so anyway, Dijak goes to the top rope to do a moonsault onto the floor on him. For some reason, Tony D'Angelo and Stack of Dimes comes out and push Wesley out of the way and take the moonsault for him. I mean, I guess they're feuding with Dijak right now, but yeah. So then that leads to Dijak going, taking a fall from Wesley, losing the match. It just seemed kind of out of nowhere, and I didn't like it.
Did you see a picture? Did you see a picture of Dijak's finger?
I did. Dislocated finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that pretty?
I'm squeamish.
So pretty.
Also, not for nothing, Bray did the same thing at the Rumble. He posted a picture also. He dislocated his finger. Bray Wyatt dislocated his finger also. But
poor
I don't know where, because I couldn't see a damn thing in that match.
Okay, so here's my thing. I have a big problem with Wesley. I don't have a huge problem with Wesley. I know that's what he's known for. But all of his flippy floppy crap is, if you can do it and be safe about it, fine, go for it. Mm-hmm. He's not doing it safely. There was quite a few times that it looked like somebody fell on their head, fell on their, not the way they were supposed to go. Yep, that was so dumb.
Yeah.
So dumb.
If I never see another Poison Rana again for 20 years, that's going to be too soon.
Yeah.
And that's the part that was frustrating for me, is because the more I see Wesley, I'm like, I guess it's kind of like what you're talking about, Coda.
Mhm.
Stop doing stupid stuff. Do shit you
Yeah.
know how to do. Call it good.
Yeah.
And I know that's what
Yeah.
he's known for, but I know
Yeah.
a bunch of indie wrestlers that do that type of stuff that, in my
Now,
opinion, are better. But
I'm gonna give Wesley the benefit of the doubt because he was on Busted Open yesterday, talking with Bully Ray and Lick Recca, and he actually said that one of the things he wants to improve on is his technical wrestling. So it sounds like he's gonna try to get more of
if
that
he
in there and maybe get away from the high flying a little bit.
if
I
he
don't
can
know.
get away from the high, I mean, you still want to have the high flying stuff. I
There's gotta be
understand that.
something. Gotta have a little sizzle
You
on the
got to have
steak, you know?
something. Right. You sell the sizzle.
Now I want steak.
So, but
That match.
watching that today, because I watched it today. I'll be sure I watched it today, and it was like as I watched it, I like cringe every time I saw something, something that didn't quite look right. It was just uncomfortable to watch for me.
So I'll rephrase. So maybe the match wasn't the best match, but Dijak I think gave the best performance
Oh, I love
on
Dijak.
his end. Cage match I thought was fun.
Cage match was fine.
I like that Carmelo went too straight on Apollo. That really does a lot to build him up because he's apparently going for the title now.
Yeah. Well, did they just send Apollo down to NXT to get buried?
I think they sent him down to put people over. I think that's his main job. Yeah.
Okay. Because Apollo, when the first time he was in NXT, he was red hot.
Yeah.
Red hot. And then they sent him up to the main roster.
So now it's like he's have to rebuild again. Now they got him put him in with Dabakato now for a feud, which I like. Makes sense. You know
what? For the gimmick, the dumb African, where he had to take on an accent and everything, he worked that as well as anybody could work that.
Hey, the accent was solid. That wasn't a bad accent.
The accent was solid. He changed his whole demeanor. Right. He had an arrogance. His wrestling, he's never been a bad wrestler.
No, he's always been a fine wrestler.
I don't know why they can't figure out something to do with him, but it's just I think right now you have an embarrassment of riches. Yeah. You have a lot of guys that can do a lot of things, and so if you're not top tier right now, it's real hard to get your foot in the door.
Right now.
My biggest thing with that was, how often does an actual character go over anymore?
Sami Zayn's the first one in a long time.
Well, I mean, just he was the Nigerian prince. Okay, tell me a high tier wrestler though that's not being a somewhat character of themselves, as opposed to being given something like the Nigerian prince, and you have to deal with this.
Yeah,
because he never gave me that vibe down in NXT.
No,
he was just him, and it was great.
Well, it's like when Kofi one day just stopped talking Jamaican.
Triple H called him out on it. It's like, aren't you supposed to be Jamaican?
Yeah, wasn't Triple H supposed to be English? But
no, he was never English. He was French in WCW.
Oh, was he French?
Jean-Paul Lebec.
Oh, I was thinking about
if I can find that promo, I'm playing it.
But yeah, it was a dumb Vince gimmick where he's like, it's like, oh, well, you're African American, right? And he's like, well, yes, sir, I am very clearly African American. All right, pal, I got a gimmick for you.
Yeah, Vince just terrible.
You ever been to Uganda? We've had a lot of good luck in Uganda. We had a guy from Mississippi.
You've got to be kidding me.
But yeah, so there's that. What'd you think of the tag team match, Mark?
I like
not okay. Let me specify the men's tag team match.
The 3-way or 4-way with
the 4-way with Gallus and Pretty Deadly, Chase U and New Day.
Best thing about that match was the finish. I love the Gallus one because I'm a big fan of Gallus.
I love Gallus.
I like Chase U. I didn't realize until far longer than it should have that Andre Chase is Harlem Bravado from Ring of Honor back in about 10 years ago.
Huh. But, I'm really depressed on what they've done to Duke Hudson.
Me too.
I like him better.
Be in that. I like him as the gambler. That was a cool gimmick.
I like him as a real heel.
Yeah,
he has a very.
I've been waiting for him to turn on Andre for months.
Well, let's hope it happens.
And they got to get rid of the chick. She's annoying as hell.
Yes.
Thea, what's her name?
I don't care. I don't care.
My wife cannot. She would spit on the ground she walks on whenever she sees her on television.
And then
Okay.
Oh, did you find it?
I did. Hang on. So I got to play this real quick.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Not a very popular victory over this young man just now.
Gordon Soley, let me start by apologizing to all the people here today because I know the men. They see the look in the eyes of their women when Jean Paul walks into the building. They fall to the ground. They fall to their knees in awe of Jean Paul.
Oh, come on. Now, let me ask you a question. I understand your background. I understand your expertise. What is your actual purpose for being here in the United States?
Gordon, I have had everything in my life. I have had the best education, all the money. I have had every woman I have ever wanted. But the one thing that I have never had is a championship. And that is why I am here, to be the world champion of WCW. And if it is Hulk Hogan, I will take whoever it is in the way of you to become the world champion. Whatever step I have to take, I will take it to become the greatest of all time.
Well, now, a question in this regard. You're talking about you would like to become the world champion. I can understand that. But Steve Austin is U.S. heavyweight champion. Lord Steven Regal, the world TV champion. You've got a lot of champions to go through if you want to get to somebody like Hulk Hogan.
It does not matter to John Paul who is champion. Whatever step I have to take, I will take them all on. I do not care. Everyone I will take on to get the championship that I want.
There you have it. The comments from Jean Paul. We'll be back with more action right after we take this brief timeout.
Oh my.
I have one question about this, and I've seen that clip millions of times. Gordon Soley is one of the most respected announcers in the history of professional wrestling. How did he keep a straight face during that interview?
Yeah, there's no way I could have. There's no way I could have. He's a professional. That's what he's there for.
Dwayne, was this before? This was after terrorizing Dwayne. This was right before he went to WWF. He sounds like Mango. What my wife says. For you SNL fans. Yeah, Hunter was, when he went to WWF, he had basically the same gimmick, but they just had him lose the accent, which was probably wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one of the most ridiculous things. That's probably the bane of his existence. I think Jericho played it on a podcast when Triple H was on there before. But yeah, that was from WCW. I want to say 94, if I had to guess. I think.
It's bad. It was bad.
Yeah, but yeah, Triple H. He's not a bad actor from what I've seen of, but yeah, don't play French, buddy. It's not good. I think that was Flair's fault too. I think Flair made him a Frenchman because Flair was booking.
No, jeez.
Well,
He found out his
Flair
name was
was
Paul
probably-
Levesque. He was like, "That's French." Woo!
In Flair's defense, he was probably hungover.
Or drunk.
So
Probably.
Or drunk.
he was or drunk, or just plain flat out drunk at the time. So like, you can't fault him for every decision he made because he
And
was
booking committee.
not in his right mind.
Let's see, he hasn't been in his right mind since 1982.
True.
But I'm not
Well,
one to judge.
Almost dying 19 times will change a dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Not
In
necessarily
every
for the
conceivable
better.
way too.
Yeah.
All right.
Neither
So back
man
to
nor machine
vengeance.
can kill that man.
He's
Back
got
to
a
Vengeance Day. Okay,
Back to vengeance.
he's got a punch card.
he's got like 8 of them.
So I'm
All right.
disappointed in what they're doing with Jensen and Briggs now.
Yeah,
I miss those guys. I'm not liking what they're doing with them.
No, it's I don't know. I don't get what they're doing with Jensen specifically. Briggs, I like.
Mm-hmm.
Jensen, he's just like a puppy dog running around
Yeah.
chasing what's her name.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how all that plays out because I can never remember all their names.
Yeah.
Not what's the girl's name that was originally with Briggs?
Fallon Henley.
Fallon, yeah.
I think
I
she's a
like
Shimmer girl.
Fallon. Yeah, I like
Right.
Fallon.
I like
But
Kiana too.
Kiana, she's a
She's
heel
got a ways
and
to
she's
go.
doing a very good job as a heel.
Yes.
But the fact that Fallon wanted to keep it legit and now
They're
she went
doing
behind her back and they
oil
didn't
and
do
water
legit.
kind of.
Yeah. Interested to see what happens there.
Yeah. I hope one of the things that happens is the Jensen shaves that
Oh God.
wispy little mustache off.
Please. Please.
It's like the mustache I had in 1991.
Yeah, I think my thing is, I used to be right before Vince took back over. NXT was probably my favorite show on wrestling.
Yep.
It ran like a well-oiled machine. Gargano and all those guys were at the top of their game. Didn't seem like they wanted to go anywhere, and that was fine with Triple H. Let's just have a show. AEW was still kind of floundering. TNA didn't really have much in the way of signings, and then all of a sudden Vince comes in and pops all four tires on the car.
Starting over, pal.
Starting over, and it just became a dumpster fire. And they're just getting back to I'm watching it more. I'm not fast forwarding as much, and I'm still trying to watch Impact, but man, it's hard to get back into it, because it just broke my heart because it was really, really good.
Black and Gold NXT was the best.
It was really good, and the wrestling was good. The storylines were good. They were simple.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing about NXT was probably, to me, the whole Toxic Attraction angle, Mandy Rose.
Yeah.
Of course, that all. I just heard that interview today. They took the belt from her and then fired her the next day without any warnings.
Yeah, and now she's made $5 million.
Yeah, they never gave her a warning that was hey, if you don't take the website down, we're going to have to let you go. And
that sounds like it was the legal eagles in the office.
Too. Yeah, that seems like that's a little weird for somebody who was your champion for 400 days.
Right.
That seemed to really enjoy wrestling, and at the time, that was her bread and butter. And the month that you fire her is the first month she makes $1 million. So,
and she seems like Vince's type.
Now is you're not going to get that back. So there's a few stumbles, but I'm finally starting to get back into NXT, and but I agree with Mindy that it's the Duke Hudson thing, the Chase U thing is just kind of weird. He seems like a guy that can actually work.
He's a hell of a worker, yeah.
I understand Braun Breaker being your champion for a while, but man, what's his name? The Australian guy that he just fought. Waller. Dude is such a natural heel.
Oh yeah.
And he's really talented in the ring. And I think for at least for a while, we might have given that guy the belt just to be your heel champ, make Braun chase something, because he's never really had to chase. He's always just kind of came in and rolled over everything. You got to give him a little bit of.
He had a very small chase with Ciampa early.
I say with Ciampa, there was a little bit of a chase.
Yeah.
He didn't even chase Ziggler that much when they swapped the belt back and forth. He just got his rematch.
Because I don't know what you do with Braun Breaker on the main roster right now. He's just another big dude. I don't know what you do with Braun Breaker on the main roster.
I'd send him after Austin Theory.
Yeah.
That'd make the most sense. Or Gunther.
I wouldn't send him after Gunther.
Be a fun match.
I'd rather see Seth and Gunther. I think they could tell a good story. If you got something to get it going, you have to have something to get it going though.
Not for nothing, not for a feud, but I want to see a match between Gunther and Tozawa. Just because Tozawa would sell the shit out of those chops. There may not be a better seller on the roster than Akira Tozawa right now.
Well, I'm going to agree with Bari on his little comment. You want to throw it up there, the last one there, Mark?
Let's see.
That
Braun
one,
will
yeah.
drop the belt to Carmella. Oh, Carmelo. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Carmelo's due.
Yeah.
Well, Carmelo's got heat with Carmella now.
Yeah.
Apparently, she doesn't like that he's saying Melo is money.
Oh.
Oh, Braun Gunther had a match on NXT. I did not see that. I'll have to go back and find that. But I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Melo, he's been just firing on all cylinders from day one, basically. So I think he needs to be their guy right now. And yeah, Braun should go to the top, to the main roster. I'm inclined to think Waller should go to the main roster. I think he's ready, just with the way he's able to get heat and his athleticism, all that stuff. You know, that yeah, it's Carmelo's ready, but I think they need him in NXT for a bit more.
They
you know what I
still
mean.
need a couple of big stars because
Mhm.
there's really, this is just my personal opinion. There are no big stars in NXT anymore, except for Braun
right now,
and
no.
Waller. And I'm not a Waller fan.
Right.
I don't like him. Period.
Oh, I am. I think he's great.
I
He's
don't
so
like him.
unlike. You just want to slap him.
Well, and maybe, and I'm surprised that I don't like him because usually those are my favorite. But
you heart heels.
I do heart heels. But there's something about him. I think it's I don't know. I don't know what it is about him.
I'm
I-
just.
The only
It
thing I
might
would
be.
do.
It might be. I don't think he's that far away from his character in real life. This seems like one of
That
those
could be
guys
it.
that may not
be.
be that far away from.
Yeah.
So that may be just be rubbing off on you through the screen. And you're like, no,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't like it. So we were talking about toxic attraction earlier. Oh, go ahead.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Well, I was going one more thing about Carmelo. I think I want to see him on his own before too long. I want to see him break away from Trick Williams. I want to see what Trick's got, and you're not going to get that as long as he's running with Carmelo. The way NXT is boring, I don't agree with that necessarily. I mean, it's I think it's taken a bit for people to get back into NXT after the 2.0 thing. Now, I did watch 2.0 just because I wanted to see the young talent, see them progress, like how they're kind of how we do with Thurston and Throwdown, Minderz for 0-1.
Yep.
We're watching these young
Oh.
guys and seeing their improvement every week. And I was kind of getting that same
Gary.
vibe from 2.0.
Everybody likes to look, just gawk at a car crash when you go by it. Like, it's not. You know it's wrong, and you know everything about it. Somebody's hurt in there, but you're just like, ooh.
But here's the thing, though. Like now, like out of 2.0, you're seeing all those same people that were in 2.0, but now you're seeing them actually get something to work with, and you're seeing where they had improved. And
well, you're also seeing you're also not seeing the guys anymore that just weren't good, or
Right.
the girls, like that they were trying to push before. They were just not ready. Like I don't even remember their names now, but they were just bad. It was just bad because you take them literally off the street or off the court or wherever they came from, and you're like, oh well, they'll learn.
Careful.
Well, wherever they came from, like off the basketball court, off wherever you got them,
right?
And it's just, and then you're like, well, they'll fail or they'll learn. Well, you're doing that to them on national television. So if they want to continue, so if you're going to do that, they're going to, and if they ever want to continue in professional wrestling, and they want to work someplace else, they're going to have to explain to everybody for the rest of the time, hey, that match, where you completely botched, a snapmare, like, how'd you do that? Oh, well, I just wasn't trained. That was my second match. Well, you were on television and everybody in the world saw it.
It's like on The Simpsons when Homer took over the submarine. It's my first day.
Well, yeah, like Mark and I were talking about, like Top Dollar basically sunk everybody. No, I wasn't talking to Mark. I was talking to my buddy Jeremy. And I was like, so that just sunk an entire faction of people because they were hot. And well, the first thing was they did that rap that just wasn't good. Like whatever
wrong their way out of a paper bag.
And then you got in that if he would have hit the dive, that would have been great.
Nope.
But he didn't. How many times
over the top rope version of Titus O'Neil going under the ring?
Yeah. Before he did that, he should have asked Titus what happens when you
become
make
an
an honest
ambassador.
when you make an honest mistake in the wrestling business. Like,
Now, to be fair,
Titus wasn't a bad dude, wasn't a bad worker,
no,
but man, he slid under a ring on accident.
And it was great.
And once we realized he wasn't dead, it was the funniest damn thing I'd seen in years.
Yeah,
in wrestling. Not since
Well, here's the
Akeem
thing.
falling through the ropes.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
Also,
No.
real quick. Dwayne says watch 2.0 but lost interest very quickly. I'm surprised because 2.0 had the killer scheme of a 1985 Nickelodeon show.
Right.
So I thought that would keep his attention. Dwayne says the Acclaimed is better at rapping. I disagree. Max Caster is no poet, let's say. In an episode where we paid tribute to Lanny Poffo, I like Bowens better than Caster.
Okay.
Caster, Max Caster's rhymes are just cheap heat in iambic pentameter. Which should be on the back of a T-shirt.
Next thing you're going to tell me is Joel Gertner was just like using cheap heat, Mark, because like if you do that,
what?
I don't know what I'll do.
dirty limericks and making fun of sports teams isn't cheap heat. And I love Joel Gertner. I love the dirty limericks. I was all about it.
Joel, insert insult here, Gertner. But it was just 5 minutes long.
That's Joel, town you're in, comment on one of the ladies in the front row, dirty sex joke, double entendre, Gertner. That's your mother.
Yeah, your mother.
And
Gertner.
he made it work. He made it work. All right. So,
all right. What did you think of Perez and Toxic Attraction for the women's title, the 3-way?
I thought that was a good match. Good call having Roxy win. I think. Well,
you knew Roxy was going to win.
Gigi, I knew they were going to win, but Gigi and JC, I think, are heading to main roster.
Okay.
I would like to see them challenge Dakota and Io for the tag titles at Mania.
I heard
but
that's
I don't know
going
if
to be
that'll happen.
I heard that's going to be Ronda and Baszler.
No, jeez.
It's going to just be Shayna.
Well,
keep Ronda out of there.
This is what I heard, that Ronda found out Shayna had always wanted the tag titles, or a title run with the tag belts.
I was going to say,
and
she had a god-awful run with Nia.
And so she basically said, I'm going to drop the title so we can get those belts. And so WWE apparently still thinks she is a draw, and they're going to, but at least she'll have somebody that knows how to work with her.
Right.
And so like Shayna will be there, and then you can have Shayna and Ronda have a blow off at some point. And even if
there's got to be a feud somewhere,
even if that somehow devolves into an actual fight, that would still be fun.
Throw them in the pit.
Because they would they could actually fight.
Throw them in the fight pit.
And so, yeah, but yeah, toxic. I would. There's so many women now, and I know nobody wants me to say it, but I wish there was more women's titles in WWE. They need something. Because they don't do anything they still don't do anything. Like you bring Toxic Attraction up, yeah, I would put the belts on them because they're really good and they're really magnetic on screen. But then what? Like you have Charlotte and Becky, always going to be, but they don't know how to book without a belt. So if you can't book without a belt, man, I either make more tag teams or do something else, or like you're gonna have to learn how to book these people without belts. Actually, the closest thing you got to that right now is Becky versus Bayley.
Bayley, yeah,
and that's without.
I think they blew that off last night.
Pretty much,
they blew that off last night
because
might be going.
Lita came back.
Yeah, Lita popped up at the end. Maybe they're going to go with Lita and Bayley at Mania or something, or Chamber.
Lita,
give Bayley something to do.
As much of a trailblazer as Lita was, and she's just woman Jeff Hardy. Like she's super sloppy with everything. Does
Very.
this a lot.
Power double there.
But like she's a legend. I mean, Trish was
She
always
is.
my girl. Like Trish was so good.
Me too.
Especially
I was
Okay,
a Trish fan.
I'm the outcast here then. I was a Lita girl. I loved Lita.
Yeah.
Well, Lita was
Lita-
without Lita, like that whole thing doesn't go down though, because then you don't have you don't have anybody for Trish to work.
Right.
And I think she was better when she first started, but near the end, I think a lot of this is just wear and tear.
Yeah.
Because it just got a little sloppy, or just maybe trying to oversell, just trying to make those 5 minutes they were given count.
Yeah.
When she almost killed herself on that suicide dive in that Raw match they had, bent over like backwards. Let's see, Dwayne, what do you think of Damage Control? Dwayne asks. Individually, I like them all. As a unit, I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm okay with Dakota and Io as tag champs. I don't think they need to be with Bayley. I think Bayley needs to be on her own.
I'm the outcast again. I don't like Dakota and Io. I don't like them. I didn't like them. I didn't like them in NXT. I didn't like them in NXT. I don't know what it is about them.
It seems like they were thrown together. It's like, we got these three people just coming back at the same time. Let's put them all in a group. I would have rather seen like Dakota and like Tegan Nox as a tag team. They were a better match.
Or in a feud. I mean, they still haven't blown off that feud from like
Tegan and Dakota.
Yeah.
And then they were in the Royal Rumble, and I was like, oh, you're missing a prime opportunity right now.
Yeah,
and
they could have they could have done the stare down, tell the story and all that. But no.
See, I think when Bayley brought in Damage Control, I think she should have brought in Raquel as one of them. I think Raquel would have been good.
Then Dakota and Raquel was a tag team because they were already an established tag team in NXT.
Yeah, they're trying to make Raquel like this white meat baby face too. They got that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
She smiles too much.
They have this thing where
they off her back.
Yeah, like they have this thing where they want all these baby faces to be like pure bait, and that's just not going to work anymore because nobody, even little kids are like that's not how because when you the trope of the superhero is different now, because back in the day, like Superman was truth, justice, American way, and then the bad guys, Rob Banks, wore masks. Now when you watch a Marvel movie, there were times even I thought Thanos was probably right. We could probably use a few less people. They're
Deadpool. Do we need to mention Deadpool here?
Yeah, like he's the kids now are seeing different superheroes. They're seeing different heroes on television, and I think they have to adapt to that. I think Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, like all these guys that got over in the Attitude Era, they were all guys that were just turned up.
Shades of gray.
They weren't faces. They couldn't be because they beat up people they shouldn't beat up, and they yelled at people, and they swore, and they flipped people off. But you got to find something
to the wrong guy. They were doing to bad guys.
Yeah, you have to do it to the right people. But they got somehow Seth Rollins has gotten over with that gimmick, and he must have like the same crossroads Robert Johnson went to learn how to play the guitar. Apparently, Seth Rollins went to. Because he made a deal with somebody, because that gimmick should not have ever worked.
No,
but it's worked.
That just shows how good Seth is.
Yeah,
it's just like how Dusty got the puppet that's over.
Yeah, I like Seth when he was with the corporation.
I was always a Shield guy. I was a Shield guy.
See, I didn't like him. I didn't like anybody when they were in the Shield, and then as they broke out of that, I started liking them more. I like this Moxley now in AEW because he's
Brody.
He's just Brody. He comes to the ring. If you get in his way, he's going to hit you with a bull rope if he had one. They should give him a bull rope. Make a note.
Tony Khan.
Stacey, I'm ready for a change for Seth. I assume she means a change of clothes.
Please. Some of his outfits
But
are
no,
scary.
I was listening
Actually,
to
Mox and Kingston should have stayed a tag team in AEW.
Yeah. I was listening to Stan Hansen. He was on JBL and Briscoe's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about when he would come to Japan, they eventually stopped him from going into the crowd because he was legit hitting people with that bull rope.
Yeah.
And he was hurting people. And people were
Him and Brody both would do that shit.
They acted like he was Godzilla. And he was.
Oh, they scattered.
That's what I want to see. Like, I know you can't go out into the crowd like that, but I want somebody that is just legit intimidating like that. That never breaks
was Lance
character.
Archer.
That just Lance. I liked Lance Archer when he
did the
came
same thing
back.
in Japan.
Yeah, I liked him. I
love
liked him
Archer.
in AEW, and they never did anything with that character. Jake was actually cutting super good promos, but they get so close with that character. And as much as AEW is playing with kayfabe, like, because they don't reveal a lot, and every once in a while you'll hear somebody like tell something, but like, you could have had Archer just be that guy. You just told him, shut up on Twitter. Don't act like a good guy. We're just going to make you a monster heel, an actual heel that hurts people. That's all you do. You go out and you hurt people. But they don't. There's always this, a little bit of a wink at the camera, or it drives me insane. Just commit.
Hey, Mark, does that remind you of anybody in the Indies?
For the title.
Oh, well, what's her name? Or what's their name?
Max?
Yeah.
No. No, I was thinking more of Conley. Swinging the chain around.
That's a good call.
And
Mad Dog Connolly, yeah. I'm a big fan
of
Connolly.
They swing the chain around and you run scared and...
Well, it's supposed to be a carnival. It's vaudeville.
Well, Connolly, it's the circus, But Gary, 01, February 25th, if you want to come along, they're doing the dog collar match, Connolly and Camaro. So those always go well.
Just shut up, Mark.
I think it'll be a fun show, but we'll talk more about that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, for those that don't know, the 01 shootout tomorrow, 5:00 p.m. We're gonna have a couple of. We try to have some of the stars of 01 USA come on with us tomorrow. We got Big Man Chan, the enthusiast ring announcer, manager, kind of a jack of all trades, and the shining light champion Jacques Kennedy coming on.
We'll talk about last Thursday too.
Yeah, but that's for tomorrow. For tonight, we're going to move on, and it is. I can find my pictures. Here we go. It's time to announce our latest inductee into the Jumping the Rail Hall of Fame. There's our graphic, because I'm awesome at this. And this is actually one that was suggested by a listener, and by listener I mean Narj. I went on social about a month ago and I said, if you guys have any thoughts who should be the next one in to submit it, and we had a few submissions. Narj is the first one we put on. Let me see here. Dwayne's going to miss the next Mattoon show. That's a shame, Dwayne. You will be missed. But so for this, not only is this a good call for Nards, it's one of my favorite guys. And it kind of goes along with what we were just talking about with Hanson and Brody and all of them, Gary.
Oh, Funker, yeah.
Middle-aged and crazy, Terry Funk.
One of my favorite.
So well these days. But,
but
man, he was
one of my favorite tag matches I've ever seen was him and Dory in Japan versus two middle-aged Japanese guys. I don't remember who it was. I don't think it was Saruda, but Terry was young. He wasn't like super young. He was a little bit wild yet, but like, so it was basically Dory get in, lock up, grab a body part, take him down.
Wrestle.
Wrestling.
One to two spinning toe holds. Tag Terry in. Terry proceeds to bump like an absolute maniac for like the next 5 minutes. Gets thrown out of the ring like 3 times. Comes up pulling his hair out. Runs back in the ring. Gets bump. tags Dory in. The hot tag Dory comes in with is grabs the headlock.
Yeah.
Great.
And it's just so awesome because it's just
What?
the only person in the match that has any energy left to bump with is Terry, and they are just filling his bump card. they're just like, you got plenty of room, kid. Go out there and bump. Dory at the time was probably fairly young. He was probably like 40 something because he's ancient now, but he never looks any different. Like Dory Funk always looks like Dory Funk. He was bald, wore trunks and boots. Like that was Dory. And would do the spinning toe hold, grab a headlock. That's all he did the whole match. The other guys would chop Terry every once in a while. They would chop him with one of those Baba chops because they were old Japanese guys. And Terry would bump like he had been shot with a shotgun. And it was just it was which is why when I saw him in ECW and doing the deathmatch stuff, I just didn't get it because he was so good. Like his actual in-ring work was spectacular. His work on the mic was spectacular. His character work was spectacular. So I didn't get when he went to that part of his career. But I mean, he made it out of that
ECW. Yeah. You had a few people commenting in the comments about the I Quit match with Flair. It's an almost perfect match, from Clash of the Champions. I don't think anybody else could have made that match what it was other than Ric Flair and Terry Funk. It was just, plus, Gary Hart was there, and I'm a big Gary Hart fan. Gordon Soley and Jim Ross on commentary. I mean, come on, that thing get better than that. And that's like just after Mid-South Jim Ross too. So everything about that match was perfect, I thought. But still not my favorite Flair match, but it might be my favorite Funk match. Aside from the match he had with Chris Candido in ECW in '97, which you can't go wrong with Candido. He was so good. You were talking about Dory also. He was the first guy to do the European uppercuts. And he did not pull those back. He'd lay him into you. I think Ian Rotten told a story about asking Dory to show him how to do the uppercut, and he almost collapsed his chest in just with one. And Ian's a big guy, so that's saying something. Because I think the Rottens were like running with Funk in ECW, like original ECW, like 93, 94.
Yeah.
And but yeah, everything Funk has done has won, even to his acting. He was in Roadhouse, for God's sakes. But NWA champion, ECW champion, hardcore champion at WCW. I think he beat Norman Smiley for that, maybe.
Norman.
But everything Funk did, you believed. It was, but I really I loved the stuff like when he was in WWF with Jimmy Hart in the '80s when he was feuding with Hogan and JYD. Also, because you look back at it now and you couldn't get away with some of that shit now that he was doing, especially the promos on Dog when he beat up the ringside guy for handling messing up his hat or something.
My favorite promo of all time could possibly be when he was in ECW and he started his feud with Dreamer. My daddy had a jackass.
Promo? Yes, I love the jackass promo. I love that jackass.
But I had to put it down. God.
Oh.
It went on forever, but it was great.
Well,
and then he
kind
came
of a
out
meandering vocal delivery.
Well, then he comes out his entrance music in ECW, Desperado.
Yeah. Eagles version of Desperado.
The Eagles version of Desperado. That was super slow and it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. And him versus that barbed wire match he had with Sabu was one of the dumbest things of. Like at the time, I thought it was awesome because I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." And looking back, I'm like, "Why isn't anybody dead?" Like they should both be
Sabu
super
almost
dead.
bled out, didn't he?
Well, they gave him some super glue and duct tape. That's what saved his life.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was just they threw it to
Yeah.
him in the ring, and he just super glued it and then duct taped it.
Yeah.
And they kept
So it's all-
wrestling. And they had to
Yes,
end the match
but-
because they could not separate the two of them, and they couldn't pin each other because they had so much barbed wire wrapped around them that they could no longer physically contact each other. So they just stopped the match and gave it to Sabu.
All right, fill me in, guys. What is Bari talking about here on the chat?
There was a promo he did in Memphis, I think during the feud with Lawler, and he was doing a promo with the horse, and the horse was like getting fidgety, so he just slapped him to calm him down.
All right.
And yes, Dwayne, he did use a branding iron to great success. You were talking about Desperado, Gary. I'm going to see if this will work. He had a better song, which is one he used in the NWA. I'm going to play just a little snippet of it. I want to see if it works. Maybe.
Maybe not.
We can only do 30 seconds of it anyway. So.
Way better. I don't know if that came across on the air. I'm still learning how to do the other stuff on the pod, but
I didn't hear it.
Called Right Stallion Right. You hear? I'll post it on the page. I said it's a little bit of trial and error here, folks, but that's all right. So I think we can give a big salute and a yeehaw to Terry Funk for his Hall of Fame induction here. So there he is again. Congratulations, Terry. I know it means a lot to you to be inducted in our Hall of Fame, but it is what it is. Something else it is, and we actually had Dwayne ask me about this already. No sound. Yeah, I know. I'll post the link to it later and on the Facebook page. No harm done. So it is time for our Top 10 Tuesday, Gary. And I promise once we finish this, then I'll get you out of here because we're flirting with 2 hours now.
Yeah.
But since we we did an hour and a half last episode, so we got to make up a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Top 10
Let's
Tuesday.
go. I got a dog
Gary.
outside. I got a dog outside that's barking at the whole neighborhood. So get her in.
He's getting heat. So there's our topic today: top greatest Samoan wrestlers. I may have done this on the old in season 1 before we had video, but I'm doing it again because I have pictures. Number 10, probably the guy that the fewest people know about. Awesome heel nowadays in MLW, Jacob Fatu. He shows up in all the indies. He's so good. Has he been in 0-1, Minderz?
He has not. Not that I'm aware of.
I know they use some MLW guys every now and then, but I'd love to see them bring Jacob in.
That's how I met Alex Zane. So yeah, let's have Fatu work with Jacques.
Yeah, we met Alex Kane. Alex Zane is very different.
No, I thought I said Kane. I'm sorry.
No, you said Zane.
Oh, I meant.
It's all right though. Yeah, but we had Davey Richards there, Alex Kane. So plenty of MLW guys. But Fatu is like a throwback with a street tough twist to him. Like he'll whoop the hell out of you, and he never looks happy. You can just look at that face. And I don't know if it's because that belt is so big, but no,
Dwayne, be patient.
Is he picking people already?
Yes, he
hold
is.
Your horses, Dwayne. Hold your horses. All right. So yeah, Jacob Fatu. I don't know if you ever seen him, Gary, but he's worth checking out. I think
he's worth it.
Yeah, I don't want to see WWE touch him. I want to see, and I want AEW to touch him either. I want him to just keep doing his thing. GCW is a great spot for him. MLW is a great spot for him. But yeah, so he's our number 9. Number 8 is Gary's favorite tag team, the Usos. Number 8.
Are they 8 and 9? Because you're at number 9 there, hun.
Number 9. Okay, yeah, I can't count today. I've got a couple of spots occupied by tag teams just because.
Okay.
Like each member really doesn't subsist without the other.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, I've got them down low, but yeah, they're best tag team in WWE right now. Obviously, best storyline in the company in the business right now, and 7 or 8 times tag champs, if my count is right. So, I can see Gary grumbling and cursing my name for.
Oh, no, I mean they got to be on there. Samoans, man.
Oh yeah.
It's a Samoan list.
So it is a Samoan list. All right, but I won't say too much. I'll try to move this along, Gary. Number 8, and you might get mad at me for having him this low. I got Samoa Joe at number 8. And I will say that after this, the rest of the list will all be related. They will all be members of the Anawai dynasty. Joe, you gotta love Joe. I'm glad he finally beat Darby last week. Shouldn't have.
What was even the point in Darby taking it and then the?
I don't know what that was.
Because he won it in his hometown.
Oh, jeez. And then come on.
Tony's all about the cheap pop for the hometown pop, even though he won't come back to his hometown, but that's neither here nor there.
Right?
Come back. Although they are doing house shows now, so maybe they'll start running house shows in Champaign. So we'll wait and see.
I'm not holding my breath.
Me either, but we can hope. Joe, yeah, been everywhere, won everything. Seems like a no-brainer for the list. So, also kind of looks like Elvis. So that's look at that face. Thank you very much. Look at that. All right, number 7. We got the OG High Chief Peter Maivia at number 7. Got to have him on there.
Have to.
He's like Samoan Moses. He's the guy that everybody sprung out of. Trained the Wild Samoans. Obviously, he's The Rock's grandfather. Only guy I know that played a ukulele in the ring. But also tough bastard. Those tattoos he has on his legs were done Samoan style, like with a hammer and a chisel, almost like the High Chief way. Like he's a legit High Chief. Like forget what tribe it is in Samoa. But yeah, just again, no brainer. All these guys are pretty much no brainers. Much like this guy here, number 6. I got it right this time. Umaga, short run, but man, he was so fun to watch. Probably the most
they need to induct him. He needs to be inducted this year.
I could see it. I'd be okay with that. But yeah, definitely. Aside from the Usos, probably the most athletic of the Samoans.
Yeah.
Just awesome big splash off the top. He did the taped thumb Don Morocco gimmick, and then I loved it when he had Armando with him, Armando Estrada, with the Lou Bega looking suit and the cigars in his pocket. But old Umaga didn't make the best decisions sometimes. Kind of caught up with him at the end, but no accounting for his talent. And I thought he should have been more than just an Intercontinental Champion. I think he should have beat Cena for the WWE title. At least get a short run, like in that 2007 period, like around the Rumble when they were feuding. It would have made sense to have him just destroy him in a match and then drop it in the rematch. But I'm not a booker, so it's all right. So Umaga's number 6. Number 5, we're going with Umaga's brother here, Gary, and that's Rikishi. Rikishi Fatu, Phatu. Yeah, the best picture I could come up with is him with those sunglasses.
Well, no, Gary those sunglasses. It cracks me up because Dwayne said top 5. So,
well, good on you, Dwayne. You got it right. But so Gary, we're gonna find you those yellow sunglasses for future use. But yeah, Rikishi, head shrinker, Samoan SWAT team, awesome. Just in that Fatu period, just reinvented himself. They hit him a sumo, I guess. He's catching up on that Yokozuna steam, but without the pants. And made a tremendous living shoving his ass in people's faces. So
there's not too many people that could do that, but
no, that's true. And he's the Usos' dad, so he's continuing the bloodline, as it were. But yeah, I think he was a huge star in 2000, 2001, mainly 2000. And so I think number 5 is a good spot for him. Number 4, boom, the other tag team, the Wild Samoans. I think like a 20-time tag team champions around the country. Scary as fuck, They were not handsome men, but they didn't have to be.
Nope.
Well, I don't know why Alpha looks so surprised there on the right. Sika looks like Alpha just farted in this
He
picture.
does.
But no, they were legit scary tag team. Had Captain Lou with them, and they were like the tag team in WWF for the late 70s through the early 80s. Not unlike what the Usos are now.
Nope.
And yeah, for a while they had toward the end they had Samu with them too as a member of the actual Wild Samoans. So got a bunch of comments. Is Dwayne still posting comments? I'm not looking because I don't want to.
Yeah, he said, remember Vince kissing husband ass on SmackDown. LOL. Then he corrects it and says his ass, not husband. And then Bari threw in.
Yeah, I don't think Vince has kissed any husbands.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Alpha and Sika. Bari said Alpha and Sika held tag gold everywhere they went.
Yes, this they did, and convincingly so. Not just some flash in the pan tag team. All right, number 3. Going with the Tribal Chief for number 3, Roman, because he's only been in the business for about a decade, and he's just now getting his steam going. They tried really hard to make him the top guy, but it went over like a fart in church. So now they really hit a home run making him a heel.
Lead balloon.
There's a bit of a lead balloon when he was a baby face before. But,
oh yeah.
See, like I think what they did with Reigns and how he exploded, I always thought if they would have turned Cena heel, that this same thing would have happened. I think you could have exploded him. I think, and then when he came back as a baby face, but like you've had all these years, like he's still over. People still cheer for him, but it's not like he's not drawn the way he did because he just got stale. Everybody knew his shtick. Everybody knew what he was going to say. Everybody knew the gimmick. Roman came back from cancer. Everybody loved him because it was a comeback story. Because he wasn't being shoved down your throat. He was vulnerable, finally. He was an actual human being. He wasn't this guy that punched people and speared people and that never lost. And so, that gave him that leeway to do something else. And then you turn him into this monster heel. That's how you do that. You take your biggest face, and then when you see he's starting to get stale again, instead of just trying to shove him down your throat, like they were doing with Roman and not succeeding, they're like, you know what? We're going to turn him heel. And not only are we going to turn him heel, he's going to be a monster heel. Yeah. He's going to cheat constantly. He's going to get people to cheat for him. He's going to act like it never happened. He's going to gaslight you all the time. We're going to give him Heyman. And it worked. He's had the belt for 2 years. I always thought that that's what they could have done with Cena, because Cena was just... The crowd would have ate it up, and then he may have gotten more cheers as a heel, and he would have had to work really hard at it, but at least it would have been something different. I think he would have sold more T-shirts. I think, but they were so worried about action figure sales and like the merchandise sales, and so I'm glad they did this with Reigns when they had the chance, because otherwise he would have already fizzled out. It would just been another dude. He's just another 6'5" Samoan.
But with abs. Bari said he remembers Roman from his days at Georgia Tech. I didn't watch a lot of Georgia Tech football, so I didn't actually know about him until he got into the business. But yeah, I guess he was quite a stud on the football team in college there. So yeah, he's our number 3. Our number 2, one you asked me about earlier, Minderz.
I wondered. Uncle
Yoko
Rodney.
Probably my favorite out of all the Samoan wrestlers is Yoko. Especially like going back and watching when he first showed up in WWF in like '92, when he squashed Virgil like literally at Survivor Series '92, and then getting the title run with Brett and going around. But just crazy athletic. More athletic than he had any business being 560 some pounds.
Yeah.
Best leg drop in the business.
Well, I mean, it was pretty legit.
Yeah. It's the only leg drop where I heard the crowd like coming up for and then bam, drop the leg and
Whee! Sorry.
Yeah.
no, Bari's with me. Yoko's his favorite too.
Yep.
One of the only leg drops where the guy's like crossing himself, taking it. It's like, I just
Him and Mabel.
Oh,
Just because
jeez.
Mabel didn't do it right.
no.
Yeah.
Mabel didn't know to bend the leg.
Or even the bonsai drop. Like you have a lot of faith that guy's got a strong upper body and not going to slip his hands off the ropes because that's a crushed chest. Like that's a lot of weight. Just
Scariest thing I ever saw in a match was Survivor Series '93. It was the All-Americans and the Foreign Fanatics, whatever it was. Which I don't get why the evil heels were from Finland, Canada, and Samoa. But there was a spot where Yoko had Taker set up for the bonsai drop.
Japan, Mark, not Samoa.
No, he was always introduced as being from America, or the Polynesian Islands, but he represented Japan.
The Polynesian Islands.
We had this discussion earlier, Mark.
We did. But anyway, so he hits one bonsai drop. They set up for another one. And as Yoko jumps, Taker sits up. If that's a split second slow,
next
Taker's literally the dead man.
Yeah.
Yeah, your neck
because he would have had a couch fall on his head.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show, number one, how good it is that Taker can do a sit up, but also just how good the timing was between those two guys to be able to pull that off safely. Nowadays, somebody would probably have at the very least a concussion.
Probably.
I think Jordan Grace doesn't do a bonsai. She does a Vader bomb. Somebody does a bonsai drop. Yeah, I forget who does the bonsai drop these days, but nobody does the sit up gimmick with it anymore. And I got to imagine Vince may have had a talking to with those guys after that spot. It's like, don't do that again, pal. But I digress.
That was
Dwayne
beautiful.
Lex Luger slammed him. That was a hip toss, Dwayne.
Say that wasn't a slam. That was a hip toss.
Just ask Bobby Heenan. That was a hip toss. But yeah, so do you think you could guess who my number one is, Gary? In Minderz?
The Rock?
The Rock?
If it's not The Rock, then you're wrong. Because
I didn't see the comments. Minderz, did Dwayne guess The Rock for number one?
No, he didn't pick a number one.
Okay. Well, I got some news for you.
It's The Rock. Shocker.
Yeah, come on. It is a no-brainer, man. The Rock, number one, biggest Samoan star ever out, like wrestling or not. Huge box office and decent movies.
Yeah,
some good
say
movies.
Decent. Some are good.
Yeah, I haven't seen Black Adam, so I don't know how bad it is.
it's not bad.
Yeah, but
It's not the best,
also,
but it's not bad.
Yeah, and just in his run in the ring was only full time about 6 years, 96 to 02. Yeah,
I mean,
but
Austin's main run wasn't much longer than that either, though.
no, it was about 8 years. Yeah, 8 or 9 years.
Yeah,
but yeah, in WWF run, and like overall, I think it was like from like 15 years or so.
Yeah,
but yeah,
we got to give an honorable mention. Did you see this?
Sam Fatu, I'll agree with that. If I didn't have Rikishi on there solo, I would have put the Head Shrinkers in there, the Samoan SWAT team. But yeah, Samu was always a good one. He was supposed to be on Raw. They're supposed to do that acknowledgement thing, but I guess Alpha had pneumonia, so they wound up scrapping it. But yeah, Rock, 9-time world champion in 6 years. Huge movie star, Scorpion King, all that stuff. Never saw that movie, but I was a walking tall guy. I think that and Be Cool were my favorite Rock movies that he did. But
see, I'm a San Andreas fan. I love San Andreas.
I'm not a big of the uber action movies. Too much. There needs to be a story there. But no, The Rock. I mean, best promo in the company for his whole run. Always had great matches. Even he wasn't like a technical wizard, but the matches he had with Triple H, Angle.
What I loved about The Rock was every time he would be gone for a little bit and he would come back, he'd have a new move. But it was usually like, oh, he's got a different version of a DDT, or oh, he's going to
can
do a kip up now.
Yeah.
He always added one more thing, and so it
Sharpshooter. A
Yeah.
bad sharpshooter.
not
A really bad sharpshooter.
not a sharpshooter.
Owen Hart, he is
because
not.
that was awful. It was always he's got both legs under one arm. It's
I
got
like to call it a scorpion death rock.
yeah. Looked like
still-
he was trying to twist tie closed a bag of bread, and he
Yeah.
just didn't know what he was doing, and he was just like,
Yeah.
you know what, screw it,
Like,
it's close
He
enough.
didn't get the air out of the bag.
And like the further
There's
he
going
went
to be
with
mold
it,
on that bread.
the further he went with it, he just kind of started owning it and started putting both legs under one arm. And didn't even try to do it right because
He would just like lightly squat.
Yeah, lightly.
Yeah.
But in the
Well,
face,
that's
he'd
a
make the
lot
face
of
while he's
that's a
doing
lot of that's a lot of quads.
yeah,
That's
well,
that's a lot of quads to try to.
See,
yeah.
He
my
watched
favorite-
he watched Vince McMahon run to the ring one time
uh-huh.
and blow out both quads.
Yeah.
And he's like, nope.
And
No,
then walk
no,
back
no,
to
no.
the back. Yeah, he
Still
walked back to the back too on 2 torn quads.
Yeah,
He-
because he's
he's
an
still-
idiot.
He's still my favorite person to take the stunner.
Vince?
No,
No.
The
Oh,
Rock.
Oh, the backflip somersault thing?
Yeah, the best.
Yeah.
Well,
He
it
did the
was
same
always,
thing when Rhino gored him too.
Well, it was always the. I guess I think it might have been on Steve's on Broken Skull. Austin was talking about. He said he had lots of times. It was just trying to see if he could get him to crack. So he would take the bump a lot worse than he possibly could. So in that way, see if he could get Steve to break character.
Yeah.
So
Well, like him versus Austin, just that last match where Rock was wearing his vest and had the camera, and Austin flips him off and then stuns him with the camera.
Uh-huh.
That was a great one. Or like a
Oh,
lot of
it's a
his
masterpiece.
sells are a little over the top, but like even stuff that the People's Elbow, so dumb. But
Very
Yep.
dumb. Very dumb.
very
But-
dumb.
but he put so much individuality into it, and then it was every People's Elbow was like a snowflake. Like so you're like, oh, this move's so dumb, and you're like, but what's he gonna do?
Like, what's he going to do on the approach? Is he going to
What's
do
he
the
gonna
do on the
Hogan thing, or he's gonna
approach?
strut?
Yeah, is he gonna strut? Is he gonna slide on his loafers? What's he?
Fall on
so
his ass?
he was very big on little stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like he was
He's-
good with
yes.
crowd work. What, like I've always said, I don't think him versus Hogan in Toronto was supposed to go the way it did. I think those guys called that on the fly, and Rock was willing to be the heel.
Yeah.
And because he heard everybody and they knew better, and they just changed the match and they went with it. And I don't like Hogan, like at all, mostly because he doesn't do anything. He's a dirty heel, Mark. He
Yeah, he
scratches
cheats.
people's back.
Yeah.
He gouges eyes.
He breaks every rule in the book.
He punches people with a
Can't
closed
tell.
fist.
You can't tell Narge that.
I was like, can't
Punch-
tell Narge that.
Punches people with a closed fist right in between the eyes, and then drops a leg after But Hogan versus Rock 1 was spectacular, but it was because they both understood the psychology of the building.
Hmm.
And after that, I had a ton more respect for Rock. And after Austin's last match, I had a ton more respect for Rock. And he didn't work that many matches after that, which was a shame.
No.
But it was, he understands the small things that get you over and keep you over.
I think that the last match with Austin, I think, is my favorite match he ever had. That one at Mania 19. Although I do love the Iron Man match with Triple H from 2000.
Yeah.
Because I think Triple H is my favorite of his opponents.
I
Just 'cause
think
they had such a natural chemistry,
I think the first Rock match I ever saw was Triple H versus Rock ladder match.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't have USA Network. I had TNT. So like,
You're a Nitro guy.
so kids back in the day, like Bismarck had 20 channels of cable. That was cable that you had to go up and click on the box. So we got TNT, so I got to watch Nitro, and that's when I really started watching wrestling. Was like heavy was Crow Sting Nitro. Like I'd gotten to watch it a little before that. I got to see Saturday Night Main Events and stuff. We would go to Old Town Video and get the Coliseum video tapes. We would go every week thinking that something new might come out, a best of, a WCW one, an ECW, or a WWF one. But I would have somebody just down the road record Raw on a VCR tape, and then I would take it over to my buddy's house and we would watch it the next day. And so we kind of came in because we had to find somebody to record it.
Yeah.
We didn't have anybody. And then somebody finally, they were like, oh, I have USA. So we missed a lot of the DX stuff where we got to right about the middle of it. But yeah, the first Rock match I ever saw was him versus Triple H, I think, in that ladder match on pay-per-view. And I was like, wow, this is actually really good. But yeah, it was those were rough times. That tape just got recorded over every week.
Wait, so it wasn't somebody with a DVR that just recorded it on a
No, it was a VCR tape. They would record it as the show played on one tape. I would get the tape. I would watch the tape like a dozen times probably before we got it taken back. Take back the same tape because I'm not a millionaire, Mark.
Dude, those VHS tapes were not cheap.
They would record over it the next week, and then, although when I moved, I did find an entire box of like the best of like I recorded of Thunder.
Oh wow, Thunder must be a short tape.
It was best of Saturday Night, WCW
Nice.
Saturday Night. I'm sure Barry Darso was on there golfing.
Probably any number of gimmicks for Barry Darso. Blacktop Bully.
Yeah, like that was way back. Yeah.
See, I remember, I think the first time I saw Rock was when they were doing Die Rocky Die.
Really, Dwayne?
Yeah, right? I saw that, Mark. Oh, bless his heart.
Sake, Dwayne, come on. Dwayne, I've missed this. I'm going to say it. We haven't had this banter back and forth in a while on the podcast, so.
Yeah, Die Rocky Die when he was Rocky
Just
Maivia when he was just a youngin'.
Yeah, just a pup.
Yeah, because I used to go over. I would say I did the same thing, except my aunt had cable, so I would make her record it, and then I'd go get it, bring it home, and watch it.
I used to do it. I used to watch when I could on TV, but our buddy Dustin Danger, he used to record all the pay-per-views. So I would borrow the pay-per-views from him and then watch them. But so I can see I'm starting to lose you, Gary.
It's 8:22. So
all right. Well, before we say goodbye,
6 a.m. So
okay. Well, give me a couple minutes to pay the bills here, and then we'll let you go here. So jumping to the real merchandise, very exciting. Number one, ProWrestlingTees.com/JTR Pod. That's our main source for our original source for merchandise there. All kinds of T-shirts, and I'll be quick here. So you got everything there. Boom, boom. I need to make like an actual like iMovie with music, make an actual presentation of this. So we got a few T-shirts on there. These are for the 01 Shootout line there, and then boom, there we go. And so that's on Pure Wrestling Tees, BrainbusterTees.com. We just started this up this week. And this is what we got. We got a couple T-shirts, hoodies, stickers, all kinds of stuff. So go check that stuff out. We'll have the links in the pod notes and everything. So go check it out. Help us keep the bills paid. Hall of Fame. If you got anybody you think should be in the JTR Hall of Fame, comment on the Facebook page. We usually I'll put it back up again. And then next episode in 2 weeks. I don't know. Maybe we have to bring Minderz back. We have to make you a regular. I think we got a good flow as a 3-man booth here, so we'll discuss.
Okay.
So thanks for listening. If you feel inclined, tomorrow 5 o'clock 01 Shootout on the JTR Podcast Network YouTube.
I
That
promise
clock was-
I'll be professional.
Please do. Well, if you have a sign, he can't rip it up.
That's true.
But we got the enthusiast Big Man Chan and his client, the luminary Jacques Kennedy, joining us tomorrow. So until our next episode in 2 weeks, also say goodbye, Gary.
Bye, Gary.
All right. Minderz, thanks for hanging out with us. Everybody, thanks for listening, checking us out. Podcast drops on Thursday. So for Minderz and Gary, this is Redman, and we will see you in 2 weeks.